Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. The End of the World. The Green Dragon Fruit at the Beginning. Chapter 61. On the high platform, the girl who was making faces at the zombies was startled when she saw Ao Shin and Ao Shin, who had mixed in with the zombies and rushed toward them. It's just that they kill zombies too easily. He quickly shouted to the man with the serrated knife below, Uncle Luo. Two people are coming with the zombie wave. The big man below, holding a serrated sword and fighting intently, was obviously stunned for a moment. What does it mean to be killed by a wave of zombies? Although the zombies and fur corpses were led by Ying to the streets further away, there were only zombies and flesh corpses here. But even he, a user with ancient abilities, would not dare to mix in this level of zombies. Before the girl could explain, he saw the strange movement of the zombie wave. I saw this group of zombies attracted by Ying's suddenly commotion. They no longer rushed toward themselves, but stopped. It seemed that something among them was killing the zombies crazily. Boom! A fleshy corpse was kicked into the air and landed directly in front of the stunned man. He was horrified when he saw the deep footprints on the corpse's chest. The unknown being's kick actually broke the zombie's sternum. Even his spine was twisted by the huge force. What kind of strength is this to achieve this step? With a serious look on his face, he said loudly, "Everyone, be careful, a strong man is coming." He didn't know whether this strong man was a human being, or even if he was a human being, what kind of attitude he had towards them. Soon, a young man with a delicate face and bulging muscles walked out of the crowd of corpses. He seemed to be carrying an iron rod-like weapon on his back, but he didn't use it. Instead, he killed these zombies with his bare hands. His 10 fingers are like 10 spears, and the zombie's defense is as weak as toilet paper in front of him. It will break with one poke. Next to this young man was a thin woman. It must be a woman. The big man wasn't sure. But judging from the bulge on the person's chest, it was most likely a woman. The woman's arms and fists were wrapped in unknown crystals. The crystals sparkle in the sunlight, but their hardness is extremely amazing. An ordinary zombie's skull would be crushed in an instant under her fist. The zombie elite's claws and teeth bit her body, but they were also blocked by the crystal. Is it a devil fruit power? A shining fruit. All he could think about was the shining fruit of Diamond Josie. No one knows the existence of Crystal Man yet, and the crystals on Han Shuang's body are regarded as fruit abilities by him. Are they really human? Especially that young man, who killed countless zombies purely with physical skills. Suddenly, he remembered a video he saw not long ago. That Qinglong boss. There are rumors that he is coming to the provincial capital. Judging from the previous videos, if he keeps heading west, he may indeed reach here. There was a corpse that Ying lured over there. Was he also killed by him? On the high platform, the girl was also stunned. She always thought that Uncle Luo was the strongest person she had ever seen. Unexpectedly, what she saw and heard today shocked her. Ao Shin had already seen this group of people hiding in the huge obstacle, but he did not stop the pace of killing. Together with Han Shuang, kill all the zombies attracted here. Slowly walking up to the big man, he could already see that this big man was their leader. Introduce yourself, Ao Shin. Ao Shin shook his arm to get rid of some of the blood on his body, and stretched out his blood-stained hand. The big man hesitated for a moment, but still stretched out his paw covered with gray-green scales to hold it. Witnessing Ao Shin's combat power with his own eyes, he did not dare to remove the fruit's ability for fear that this person would become violent. Seeing his caution, Ao Shin smiled, shook his hand lightly and pulled away. He recognized this image. This person's name is Luo Yi, and his fruit is a fish fruit, an ancient species, and a pig-crocodile form. In terms of strength, he can be considered a strong warrior among all the forces in the apocalypse. But what made him famous was not himself, but a girl under his command. Tang Ying. That is, the girl standing on the high platform making faces at the zombies. Because of this girl, Luo Yi's power developed rapidly, and he even fought against the strong man in Chengdu. Of course, he was defeated in the end and was taken under his command. But when his power was merged into that one's, Tang Ying's status became even higher than him. Because Tang Ying can attract zombies. Her fruit is a superhuman flavored fruit. Shangshang fruit is also an ability that has never appeared in anime. Can release various fragrances. In fact, it is said to be fragrance, but it is actually various smells. For example, the ecstasy fragrance that makes people fall asleep. Acacia incense that arouses the lust of others, etc. She can even emit a fragrance that attracts zombies, which is why these zombies are always attracted. Not only that, she conducted an in-depth exploration of the scents that attract zombies. Can release a scent that attracts zombies of all levels. For example, only the scent of furry corpses is attracted. The furry corpse was originally nearby, but she forcefully led it away. The zombies were not something Luo Yi could easily fight against for the time being, and they were also lured away by her. She can also exude the smell of zombies, making them think that she is also a zombie, so that she will not be attacked when walking among zombies. There are only zombies and flesh corpses left here, and there are multiple obstacles brought by Luo Yi. They gathered a large number of people and hid behind to hunt the zombies to gain points. And uniformly distribute the points to Luo Yi. That's why Luo Yi was able to exchange it for a good, sharp knife-level weapon. It can be said that Tang Yingying's ability is at a strategic level in the apocalypse. As for making faces, that's just because she's bored. When Ao Xin saw Tang Yingying on the high platform, she immediately recognized this famous girl and had some other ideas. Luo Yi. Luo Yi also announced his family name. Are you the person with the ability of the blue dragon fruit that is rumored on the internet? Ao Xin nodded. That's right. Hiss. Luo Yi was still amazed after receiving his personal admission. It turns out that not only is his fruit powerful, but he himself is also incredibly powerful. This forced him to be more cautious. If such a strong person has evil intentions towards them, how should they respond? Thoughts circulated in my mind, many thoughts passed through, and finally I found in despair that there was no way. We can only pray for the character of this strong man. Tang Yingying, who was on the high platform, also jumped down and stood guard behind Luo Yi, while also sizing up the legendary strongman in front of her. He looks about the same age as himself, why can he be so strong? Tang Yingying, a person with Shangshang fruit ability. Ao Xin looked at the girl. She had a pair of ponytails, her skin was white and tender, and her clothes were relatively clean, which was extremely rare in the apocalypse. How do you know? Tang Yingying asked, blinking her big eyes. Ao Xin smiled and said, not only do I know you, but I also know that Luo Yi is a fish fruit, an ancient species, and a pig-crocodile form. Luo Yi and Tang Yingying were even more shocked. How did he know? Both of their abilities are new abilities that have never appeared in anime. Why can this person see it? Make a deal. Ao Xin had no intention of explaining to them, which would highlight his mystery and power. What deal? Luo Yi still doesn't know the purpose of Ao Xin appearing here. Pointing to the wave of zombies that were still coming in the distance, Ao Xin said, use her ability to attract the zombies. I will maim the zombies and you can harvest them. Send points. This was Luo Yi's first reaction. But I soon realized something was wrong. No one is a fool, and no one is willing to give anything to others for no reason. Ao Xin must have a plan for this move. You haven't reached the bronze skin level yet. Every time you kill zombies, the points you get will be doubled tenfold. You can harvest these zombies and get more points, and then we will get 9 points. He and Ao Chen had done this kind of thing before. But it's such a waste of time. It greatly affected Ao Chen's own strength improvement. So he gave up after trying it a few times. You can still get more points, but you can only rely on yourself for your strength. But he doesn't care whether the strength of the people in front of him has improved or not, and it doesn't matter if they live or die. Just in time to implement this plan. I believe they will not refuse. But Luo Yi actually showed a somewhat regretful expression. Isn't it good to give you 10%? Ao Xin, you want to eat shit. I am 9 and you are 1. Luo Yi was even more shocked. 10%, isn't this just a waste of time? Ao Xin stretched out 3 fingers and said with a smile. First, I can instantly cripple those flesh corpses, including zombies. You only need to kill them. There is no danger, and you don't have to grind slowly. Even though it is only 10%, you will definitely get more than killing yourself. Second, even if it's a hairy corpse, I can destroy it. 3-star hairy corpses have 1000 points. If you kill them at the 3rd level, your points will be doubled 1000 times. That's 1 million. 10%, that's 100,000. How long will it take for you to get this 100,000? After saying these 2 points, Luo Yi, Tang Yingying and others' eyes lit up. What about third? The girl asked eagerly, wanting to know what other benefits there were. Ao Shin was still smiling, but what he said was frightening. Third, you are too weak. I will kill you, but it will only take a moment. So, do you have the right to object? Don't say I'm willing to give you 10%, even if I don't give you 10%, what can you do? The words were soft, but in everyone's ears, they were so cold. Luo Yi's veins stood up on his forehead, but he understood that this was reality, not fiction. If you want to gain longevity in the apocalypse, you must know the current affairs. Holding Zhan Feng tightly with both hands, he answered slowly after a long while, okay. Behind him, everyone felt humiliated, but no one dared to taunt him. This man burst out from the tide of corpses, and his evil aura frightened them all. How could he dare to joke with his own life? Hearing this good word, Ao Shin smiled and said, that's right. Cooperation will benefit both sides. I'm not a black-hearted capitalist. Let me clear the field first. These zombies won't contribute many points. After that, he greeted Han Shuang and jumped towards the zombie waves in other directions. Luo Yi and others occupied a crossroads and set up a square defensive position with various heavy metal objects. Your own personnel stand in the center, retreat when tired, and take turns killing zombies that attack obstacles. Now Ao Shin has only cleared away the zombies on the street they came from, and the other 3 streets are still full of zombies. He took off the steel whip from his back. The purpose this time was to gain points, so he planned to win quickly. Everyone saw a figure flash past, and countless zombies fell to the ground. Ao Shin is knowledgeable and reacts quickly, deliberately avoiding all flesh corpses and only killing zombies. No matter who kills the zombies, they will get 1 point, and there is no need to maim them. Luo Yi looked at this scene in shock. Now Ao Shin was just using weapons, and the combat power he showed was completely different from before. Uncle Luo, why is he so powerful? The beautiful eyes of the girl with twin ponytails are full of sparkles. For such people, peaceful times are shackles, and the end of the world is their world. Behind him, a young man who was originally guarding the main entrance to the north came over panting. Uncle Luo, he is too strong. Those zombies are like ants in his hands. His body is covered with yellow hair and there are black spots in the hair. There are pointed ears on the top of his head and a short tail behind his butt. He is also an ability user. When he came to Luo Yi, he released the fruit ability. Not only is he strong, he is simply a pervert. Tang Yingying complained that under Luo Yi's organization, their life in the last days was not bad. At least, in these days, everyone got more than 10 points, and they all exchanged for the armed color practice method. However, they were fighting for points between life and death, and Ao Shin got the points directly in his hands. Not only him, but also that woman, she is so strong. Uncle Luo is not as easy as her. Although Han Shuang's performance was not as impressive as Ao Shin's, he still managed to stay afloat among the zombies. She is a zombie-level crystal being. Converted to human beings, that would be the 2nd-level Iron Bone realm. Just because he is a mutant, he maintains his human image and sense of autonomy, and his combat power is not as strong as that of a normal crystal being. But it is definitely an existence that can crush flesh and corpses. What's more, she is not afraid of zombie viruses and does not need to be too defensive. This is something that ordinary humans cannot match. But she doesn't feel like a human to me. Tang Yingying sniffed the smell in the air carefully. She is a fragrant fruit and is very sensitive to smells. Although Han Shuang behaves the same as humans, his ability to crystallize can also be considered a fruit ability. However, body odor cannot deceive people. Tang Yingying felt that the smell of Han Shuang's body was more like the product of the fusion of humans and zombies. If I'm not a human, am I still a zombie? The young man complained in TSKED twice. But then again, she is really ugly. I have never seen such an ugly woman. Han Shuang's cheeks and eye sockets were deeply sunken inward, his face was yellow and sickly, and his lips were bloodless. If you encounter it suddenly under the moonlight at night, it will definitely scare the faint of heart. Coupled with her blood-stained and tattered clothes, her image was not only ugly, but also weird. While a few people were chatting, Ao Shin had killed all the zombies on the 3 streets, leaving only some flesh corpses. He broke the limbs and spines of these corpses and allowed them to crawl on the ground. Han Shuang was exhausted and was resting on a telephone pole. She looked at the zombie corpses in front of her, and her saliva flowed down unconsciously. The battle consumed a lot of energy, and she was very hungry now. Han Shuang's abnormality was noticed by Tang Yingying. She said in surprise, "Look at the way she looks at the zombies, as if the zombies are delicious food." No way. The young man felt that Tang Yingying was overthinking. Who would want to eat zombie meat? It's so disgusting. Even Luo Yi felt that Tang Yingying's idea was too outrageous. Okay, Yingying, don't be too sensitive. How can people eat zombie meat? Tang Yingying curled her lips. Okay, maybe I'm overthinking. Then continued to admire Ao Shin's heroic appearance in battle. He's so handsome. After killing all the surrounding zombies and breaking the limbs and spine of the corpses, Ao Shin returned with a steel whip in hand. Let your people go. After cleaning up this wave of corpses, let Tang Yingying lure the surrounding zombies over. Luo Yi and others looked at the empty streets. Is this still the apocalypse they knew? He said to the young man next to him, Xiao Shi, when you take people to kill these abandoned corpses, you must remember the number clearly, and you must not be greedy for even 1 point. He was frightened by Ao Shin's strength. He had destroyed those corpses. If he remembered the number and someone on his side got greedy, wouldn't that push them all into the fire pit? Shi Yu nodded and left, calling to 10 people in the crowd, follow me. He first found out the specific number, and then asked these people to start cutting off the heads of the corpses. The bodies of flesh corpses are much stronger than zombies, and their bones are harder. It is not easy for these people to cut off their heads. Ao Shin glanced at the work over there and stopped paying attention, and came to Han Shuang. Hungry. He could see the desire for zombie meat in Han Shuang's eyes. Go and eat when you are hungry. Don't worry, as long as I'm here, no one will dare to target you. His resolute words made Han Shuang's already dead heart feel a little warmer, but she still held back. No, this will get you into trouble. If others see her eating zombie meat, not only will she be regarded as a monster, but Ao Shin's reputation will also be damaged. She didn't want to see this scene. In the end of the world, perhaps Ao Shin is the only one who is willing to accept himself as a Jingran. She couldn't live up to Ao Shin's kindness. It doesn't matter, I don't care about this. Ao Shin looked up at the sky. Reputation. What this world needs is strength. As long as I am strong enough, others will shut up. But if I'm not strong, then I'll have to let the mermaids eat their flesh. Just like Han Shuang in the past, she was a girl who had no power to bind a chicken, but she was forcibly stuffed with zombie meat and turned into a crystal being. Is that because she did something bad? No, that's because she's too weak. Therefore, the rules followed by Ao Shin are: those who obey me will pay protection fees, and those who disobey me will be beaten to their knees. Han Shuang still shook his head and resisted the desire to eat. Not far away, Shi Yu led these people to harvest the heads of corpses. It only took Ao Shin 5 minutes to cripple them, but it took Shi Yu and others a full hour to chop off the heads of these corpses. I don't know if these people can chop off the head of the corpse. He muttered something, not having any hope in the strength of these people. The only one who is somewhat useful may be Shi Yu. He is blessed with the ability of the animal fruit, and his physique is far stronger than others. The attack power is naturally stronger. He might even get a chance to chop off a zombie's head. If it really doesn't work, we can only let Luo Yi try. However, Luo Yi's strength has already entered the copper skin realm, and after killing the hairy corpse, he can only get 100,000 points. When Shi Yu and others finished harvesting, they came to report to him. A total of 68 flesh corpses, a total of 6,800 points. According to the agreement, you will be given 6,120 points, which I will transfer to you now. Ao Shin nodded, added Shi Yu's friend in the God-given space, and received 6,120 points. For these people, getting 680 points without fighting for an hour is like getting rich. I worked so hard to kill zombies before, but I couldn't get so much. Although they also know the rule that the rewards for cross-level kills are increased tenfold, but there are constant zombies outside. Even if Luo Yi has the strength to destroy the corpses, who would dare to go out and behead them? Therefore, even though they only get 1/10, these people are already very satisfied. Ao Shin looked at Tang Yingying. Go ahead, attract zombies this time. Try your best to attract as many zombies as possible. Tang Yingying nodded solemnly and no longer paid attention to Han Shuang's strange behavior. Climbing up the high platform again, a fragrance that humans can't smell spreads in all directions. Boss, you have to kill them quickly. Zombies can easily destroy our defensive barriers. When Tang Yingying lured the zombies, Shiyu was talking to Ao Shin. There are not many opportunities to see this kind of legendary figure who has only been seen in the God-given space communication channel video. Rest assured, Ao Shin said lightly. Not long after, as the scent wafted, zombies jumped first on the street to the south. It raised its hands and its legs straight. But it jumped very quickly, and in the blink of an eye it had arrived at the defensive position at the crossroads. Facing the flesh and blood of countless creatures, the zombies were extremely excited and opened their mouths to kill. But what greeted it was a steel whip. Snapped. With a muffled sound, the zombie's sternum was directly broken. Ao Shin used Xiaohe, and kept moving with his hands. With a few consecutive blows, he broke the zombie's limbs and spine, and kicked it in front of the defensive position. First, as soon as he finished speaking, he saw zombies appearing on the streets to the east and west at the same time. Ao Shin kept moving with his razor, and before the zombie on the east street could react, his spine was broken by his whip. He carried the zombie back. On the way, he handed over a few more whips, broke its limbs, and threw it in front of the position. Then, he jumped up high and jumped directly over the position. He stepped hard on the air and actually walked 2 steps in the air. It's moonstep, but before he could be happy, he couldn't keep his footing in the air after the 3rd step and fell down. But that's okay, it's a good start. He flashed out, used his shaver to get in front of the zombie, and did the same thing, and the zombie was already destroyed. On the high platform, Tang Yingying looked at the relaxed appearance of his useless zombie, and also activated her own abilities to the maximum, striving to make the fragrance spread farther. There are beads of sweat dripping on the white forehead, which is the result of working at full capacity. Luo Yi and others were completely numb. Not on the same level at all. Zombies were attracted from a distance, and were easily maimed by Ao Shin, and thrown into the defensive position at the crossroads. When Tang Yingying gasped for breath and finally could no longer activate her ability, there were no more zombies on the streets around her. Let's start. Ao Shin returned to Han Shuang and asked Shiyu to lead people to behead these zombies with broken bones. Hey, a man holding an ordinary pirate's sword swung it down hard, but it was like cutting on steel, causing pain in his wrist. I come. Shiyu stepped forward with his sword and roared, transforming into a human animal form. Shiyu is the animal type, cat fruit, and lynx form. Seeing that Ao Shin was curious about Shiyu, Luo Yi took the initiative to introduce him. Lynx is also a ferocious beast, and its combat power is not low. The core of their team is him, Shiyu, Tang Yingying, and 2 others. However, there are only 3 of them who have the ability of the fruit. Shiyu had just awakened his domineering energy and had not yet reached the copper skin realm, but with the blessing of the lynx fruit, his strength was considerable. The zombie wanted to bite, but its bones were broken by Ao Shin, so it could only be helpless and furious. Turn the zombie over so that its face is facing down, aim the long knife at the zombie's neck, and cut it off one by one. Clang! Shiyu sat down on the ground, and the steel knife in his hand broke into 2 pieces. But the zombie's neck was only cut a little bit. He scratched his head in embarrassment. Others had maimed the zombies, but he couldn't even behead them. Seeing this, Luo Yi handed over his serrated sword. With the quality of my knife, there is no problem in cutting zombies. Shiyu thanked him, took the serrated sword, and slashed it down hard. This time, 1% was cut directly in. It only takes 100 more hits to completely decapitate the zombies. Ao Shin looked bored. When she saw Han Shuang staring at the zombie and swallowing her saliva, she whispered to her. If you really can't help it, go to the street where we came from. The street can't be seen here, and there are many zombies they killed, enough for Han Shuang to eat. Han Shuang nodded. She was so hungry that she ran away. When Luo Yi and others saw Han Shuang leaving, they didn't dare to ask. They all focused on Shiyu chopping the zombie's head. There are 13 zombies in total, and it takes 10 minutes to behead each one. By the time they were all chopped off, more than 2 hours had passed. Shiyu gasped and wiped the sweat from his forehead and came to Ao Shin. 13 zombies total 130,000 points. You get 90%, which is 117,000 points. Enter the God-given space and transfer points to Ao Shin. Shiyu looked at the string of numbers on his account and felt like he was dreaming. In 2 hours, 13,000 points were earned. I brought the 680 from before. Oh, no need to bring it with me, I don't even have the change from this time. He looked forward more and more to what Maoji could bring to them. The eyes looking at Ao Shin became more and more admiring. Are you okay? Ao Shin asked Tang Yingying. Tang Yingying rested for an hour and ate a piece of ordinary big meat stick barbecue, and her physical strength was almost restored. He gestured okay to Ao Shin. No problem. Then he climbed up to the high platform again, took a deep breath, and adjusted the fragrance in his body. Soon, there was another smell that humans could not detect. Only this time, the smell was concentrated by her efforts and spread to the north. There is another furry corpse, she let out. After a long time, she stopped panting, but the corpse did not appear. Are you okay? Ao Shin expressed doubts. Tang Yingying said angrily, the distance is too far. My fragrance can't float across. After all, she was just an ordinary person who had just awakened her domineering power. Her combat power was not much higher than that of her companions, and her physical strength was even more average. It's good to be able to make the fragrance travel so far. Ao Shin saw that she had really tried her best and did not force it. Since you led the corpse out, you should know its location. Tell me and I will cripple it and bring it back. This is the only way at the moment. Tang Yingying was a little frustrated. She couldn't help making her seem useless. Pointing to the street to the north. When this street reaches the end, turn west, then reach the end, turn north, and then reach the end, then turn west. It's probably on that street. Ao Shin, I'll drop some beans. It's so far. But thinking about the location where I killed the corpse, it was also far away from here. It seemed that they had indeed put in a lot of effort to prevent the corpse from being retrieved. He said to Han Shuang, who had just returned from eating, wait for me here, I'll kill that furry corpse. After saying that, he turned into a green dragon and flew into the sky, flying in the direction pointed by Tang Yingying. Oh my god! Luo Yi and others' eyes widened when they saw the 100-meter green dragon with their own eyes. Even Han Shuang saw Ao Shin transform into a dragon for the first time. The mighty green dragon makes people worship, and the spread of dragon power also makes them feel a little more awe-inspiring. Uncle Luo, let me go and take a look. Tang Yingying suddenly jumped off the high platform and ran to the north. She exudes the unique smell of zombies, which can make zombies identify her as the same kind, so there is no problem with her safety. Be careful. When Luo Yi saw her running out, he could only shout loudly to ask her to pay attention to her safety. He doesn't have Tang Yingying's ability, nor does he have Ao Shin's fighting power. If he runs out, he will be dead if he encounters a zombie. Besides, this group of people also need to be in charge. After Han Shuang came back, she continued to stand quietly at the corner of the street, silently watching the direction Ao Shin left. In the sky, Qinglong looked down, looking for traces of the hairy corpse. Perhaps the people nearby were gathered together by Luo Yi, and he did not find any more human beings. A few streets later, he looked shocked. The red-haired thing was lying on the ground to rest. It's the hairy corpse. The green dragon swooped down, and at the same time, it roared and sprayed thunder towards the hairy corpse. The rumble of thunder sounded, and the red hair on Mao's corpse stood on end, and the hair exploded. But as soon as he stood up, the thunder struck his fontanelle. The red hair on the top of its head turned into flying ash, and the furry corpse raised its head angrily. As a result, what greeted it was a blazing crimson. That's Qinglong's hot breath. Flames covered its body, and when it rushed out of the flames, it saw countless wind blades sweeping towards it. The thunder-fire-wind combo is a trick commonly used by Ao Shin. However, controlling 3 elements at the same time also makes him less powerful in all 3 elements. In the anime, Yamato is able to counteract Kaido's heat breath with Mu Samurai Hyuga. It is precisely because she only masters the power of one element, freezing air. Although his own strength is not as good as Kaido's, the power of ice is comparable to Kaido's heat breath. On his own side as well, Meng Kui's power of the underworld and Lu Xiao's true sun fire are both powerful. If I were in the same realm as them, my heat breath would not be comparable to the true fire of the sun. But the combination of the three elements also brought him more tactics, and the power he exerted was no worse than just one element. After the Lei Huafeng meal, Qinglong reached for it with his claws. The armament color covers the dragon claws, and the dragon claws also carry the skill of finger guns. The sharp claws flashed with cold light, and the red hair on the body had been burned completely, and even a lot of flesh and blood had been scraped off. It raised its arms to block, and the green dragon's sharp claws pierced into the flesh of its arms and were blocked by the bones. Ao Xin turned into a human animal form at this moment, took off the steel whip from his back with his other hand, and slammed it on the shoulder of the corpse. He wants to cripple the furry corpse, not kill it, which is more difficult than killing the furry corpse. An invisible ominous aura enveloped him, and his energy and blood were stagnated. Roar! With a loud roar, his feet hit the ground, and his domineering energy merged into his blood. The thick energy and blood all over his body rolled and tumbling, dispersing the condensed blood energy. Electric light surrounded the body surface, and wisps of black energy were expelled from the body. The steel whip hit Maoji's shoulder, causing his body to sink. But its bones were very hard, and the whip did not crack its shoulder blades. But it didn't matter. Ao Xin's other hand pierced the flesh of its arm and grabbed it hard, and the dragon's claw slid down tightly against the arm bone of the furry corpse. The skin and flesh of its arms were torn apart by the dragon's claws, and even the bones of its arms were scratched by the dragon's claws. The skin and flesh fell off, and although the furry corpse could not feel pain, it could instinctively make it angry. A dull roar came from his throat, and he reached out to scratch Ao Xin's chest. But Ao Xin has already fought with a furry corpse and knows its strength very well. Without blocking, he let the hairy corpse grab his chest with both claws. He used a steel whip in one hand and a dragon claw in the other to use his finger gun, trying to fight the hairy corpse for his life. But after all, he couldn't really fight for his life with Maoji. When the corpse's claws were about to grab his chest, its body muscles shrank backwards strangely. It's the super toughness learned from paper painting that dodges with the air flow. But he is a normal person. After all, he cannot be as soft as an owl. His chest muscles retreated slightly and lost some of the strength of a furry corpse. His chest suddenly swelled, as hard as steel. Iron. The iron block is covered with armed domineering force, coupled with the hard dragon scales on the body, colliding with the sharp claws of the fur corpse. It is as indestructible as a diamond. 3 dragon scales fell off, and his chest was somewhat red and swollen. But that's all. Even Maoji's full attack was unable to break through his defense at this moment. But his attack was not merciful, and the steel whip hit the previous shoulder position again. He was unable to move due to the hardening of the iron block, and the impact was purely due to the inertia of the iron block before it was launched. Boom! The corpse was nearly knocked to his knees after being hit by him. The dragon's claw pierced the throat of the hairy corpse, penetrated the skin and flesh of the throat, and hit the throat bone. What's even more coincidental is that this finger just clicks on the bone gap of the throat bone. The sharp dragon claws wrapped in armor pierced halfway through. When he lifted the iron block, the dragon claws curled up and retracted the nails between the bones, completely piercing the skin and flesh of his throat. The dragon's claws completely penetrated its throat and directly grasped the internal neck bones. Drink! Ao Xin shouted and lifted his body up. In the distance, a panting girl appeared from behind the building, watching the battle in shock. This brother is too fierce. Tang Yingying covered her mouth in surprise. The violent green dragon hand shape was grabbing the hairy corpse's neck and smashing it to the ground. He's so powerful. Quickly turn on the video function of the God-given space to record this wonderful scene. Although Tang Yingying was not strong, she could still see that Maoji was struggling hard, but she could not break free from the grasp of the dragon's claws. There were other zombies surrounding him, so Ao Xin used the hairy corpse in his hand as a weapon to hit those zombies. The head of the furry zombie is like the hardest sledgehammer, hitting other zombies and easily breaking the bones of other zombies. Even if it is a zombie, if it is hit once, it will at least end up with a broken bone. In fact, Mao Shi's power is about the same as Ao Xin's, but Ao Xin has the experience of the previous life, and often uses skills to destroy Mao Shi's strength when he is exerting his strength. It has nowhere to use its power and can only be reduced to a toy in its own hands. Boom! The fur corpse was hit hard on the ground again. Ao Shin half bent, stepped on its head, and hit its shoulder hard with the steel whip. Suddenly, Ao Shin's dragon claw that penetrated deeply into the flesh of the hairy corpse's neck softened, and for a moment he couldn't use any strength. This was a long-term contact with the hairy corpse at a distance, and the ominous infection caused the dragon's tendons to become tangled in the dragon's claws, and not even the blood energy could break it away for a moment. The dragon's claws used no strength, and Maoji broke free from his grasp and jumped up with all his strength. Ao Shin's foot on Maoji's head could not withstand such a huge force. He staggered back 2 steps. He flicked his left hand, and the armor color was covered again. The blood energy repeatedly impacted in the body, finally dispersing the tangled tendons. So troublesome, he complained and rushed forward again. The fur corpse looked extremely miserable at this moment. The skin and flesh on its neck had almost completely fallen off, revealing the white cervical vertebrae and the marks left by the dragon's claws. Roar! The furry corpse roared angrily, then grabbed the corpse of a zombie next to him and began to eat it. But how can Ao Shin let him eat to recover? Shave. In a blink of an eye, he came to Mao's corpse and struck it down with his whip. The hairy corpse wanted to resist with its fists, but its arm was hit hard by the steel whip one after another, and the bones were already cracked. Although it doesn't feel pain, the body still has to follow the laws of physics. The cracked arm is far less responsive and capable than before. The steel whip hit its fist head-on, and the force was transmitted straight into the shoulder. The furry corpse eating the flesh and blood of the zombie was knocked away by the force. The already cracked shoulder was also smashed to the back under the force of this force. Shave. The dragon figure appeared again in front of Maoji, who was still standing in midair. Ao Shin grabbed Maoji's throat with one hand, and at the same time wrapped Maoji's body with the dragon's tail. The steel whip hit that shoulder again. The shoulder blade was finally completely broken, and one arm fell to the ground. Maoji suddenly threw away the zombie meat in his hand, opened his mouth and bit Ao Shin's throat with his fangs. It suddenly attacked with great force. Fortunately, Ao Shin grabbed its throat with one hand. The smelly mouth stopped in front of him and he could no longer enter it. Another roar of thunder spurted out, and the thunder hit the zombie's face, and its eyes were exploded by the thunder. The dragon's tail behind him was curled hard, and the dragon's claws on his left hand were loosening and tightening in an instant, and the furry corpse had become imprisoned with its back to him. He grabbed its neck hard and smashed it to the ground. But the concrete floor was not as hard as its head. Even if a big hole was made in the cement floor, there was still no crack on the forehead of the corpse. This thing lost a lot of flesh and blood, but its ferociousness remained intact. It roared and wanted to get up and attack. But after Ao Shin removed an arm, it had no chance of winning. The steel whip continued to fall, first breaking the spine of the corpse, and then completely breaking the bones of its limbs. But it is essentially a corpse. Although the bones are broken, the body can still move. However, without the support of bones, the power it can exert is much smaller. Lifting the foot that was on Mao's corpse, Ao Shin thrust a dragon claw into Mao's corpse from behind, grabbed its spine, and then turned into a blue dragon and flew away. As the fight over now, boss, Tang Yingying, who was hiding to watch the battle, was still unfinished. The unprecedented battle she expected did not happen. From the moment she arrived, she saw Mao's corpse being unilaterally beaten. Hey, the boss is gone, I have to go back quickly. At the original intersection, a furry corpse was thrown from the sky, and then the green dragon landed on the ground and turned into a human form. He took off the steel whip from his back, completely removed the remaining 3 limbs of the corpse, and then stabbed the corpse from behind. So what if there is no blade? The round whip penetrated Maoji's body under his tremendous strength and penetrated deeply into the earth. Let's start. Luo Yi and others swallowed. They had seen the destructive power of the corpse. It was easy for one corpse to kill an entire fully armed army. But now, it was thrown in front of them like a dead dog. Uncle Luo, lend me the knife again. Shi Yu took the peak-cutting sword from Luo Yi and came to Mao Ji. With a beast roar, he appeared in the human animal form of a lynx and slashed with all his strength, but only left a scratchy white mark on the cervical spine of the furry corpse. Shi Yu's own wrist was still sore from the shock. Ao Shin breathed a sigh of relief when he saw this scene. Is it really impossible to break through the defense? It is indeed impossible to kill someone beyond the 3rd level. Shiyu continued to slash hard, but it was still almost impossible to cause effective damage to the hairy corpse's neck bones. Just when he was about to give up the generous reward and let Luo Yi try, Tang Yingying, who ran back panting, spoke first. I have a method that I wonder if you would like to try. Oh, Ao Shin looked sideways. How can he increase his attack power by so much immediately? Tang Yingying explained. Zanfeng is only a weapon of the level of a good sword. If there is a weapon of the level of a big sword, it may be able to cause damage to the hairy corpse. Yingying, the great knife requires 100,000 points, but where do we have 100,000 points to use? Luo Yi smiled bitterly. If he could obtain a weapon of the level of a sharp sword, why wouldn't he use it? Tang Yingying did not answer Luo Yi, but stared at Ao Shin. Brother Qinglong, if this corpse can be killed by Brother Shiyu, you will get 900,000 points, and we can also get 100,000. If you are willing to lend us 100,000 yuan first and exchange it for a sharp knife, you will most likely get a higher return. Yingying. Luo Yi quickly pulled Tang Yingying. Thank God if the boss can give them points, how dare they ask the boss to help them? While signaling Tang Yingying not to say more, he observed Ao Shin's reaction. Ao Shin was not angry when he heard this, but was thinking about whether it was a good deal. It is indeed as Tang Yingying said. Lend them a big sharp knife and you have a chance to get more. He does have more than 100,000 points. Even if they get the big knife and still can't cut off Maoji's head, he can take the big knife back and give it to Han Shuang, or go back and give it to his sister. It doesn't matter, he won't actually suffer. Having made up his mind, he agreed to the plan. What type of weapon do you want to use? He asked Luo Yi. Because, if he could chop off the head of Maoji, Luo Yi would most likely use this knife, while Zanfeng would be eliminated by Shiyu. God-given space is not only about weapons that appear in anime, but also customizable types. I'm fine, I'll listen to you. Luo Yi said he didn't care. He said no more and entered the God-given space to start searching. Finally, the hardest, Autumn Water, was selected. The great knife costs 100,000 points, but he has the title of God-given member, and can enjoy a 20% discount, and only needs 80,000 points to redeem it. Passing the Autumn Water into Shiyu's hand, try it. Chushui is a black knife, far heavier than other knives. Although it is not as big as Zanfeng with the serrated sword, it weighs 5 times as much as Zanfeng. Shiyu only felt his hand sink. If he were allowed to fight with this weapon, not to mention the impact on his flexibility, he would be exhausted after just a few swings. Fortunately, there is no need to fight now, he only needs to mechanically chop it down. The blade was unsheathed, and the cold light reflected his lynx-like face. He threw the scabbard on the ground, held the knife in both hands, took a deep breath, and slashed hard at the hairy corpse's neck. Clang! The metallic collision sound echoed, and Shiyu was shocked and took several steps back. However, the shallow knife mark on Maoji's neck made him extremely excited. Uncle Luo, boss, it can be done. He dragged the knife back and slashed hard again. As a strong concussion sounded, he was knocked back again. Unfortunately, the time of using the knife was too short and the accuracy was not good. This knife struck right next to the first knife. Noticing Ao Shin's dissatisfied eyes, he hurriedly said, "Boss, I'm sorry, I will definitely not cut wrong next time." With that said, he raised his knife and slashed hard again. As a result, a third knife mark appeared on Maoji's cervical spine. Shiyu. He glanced at Ao Shin's reaction anxiously, fearing that the boss would kill him in anger. Ao Shin's face was expressionless. This situation is actually quite normal. Before the end of the world, they were all flowers in the greenhouse. Who would kill people with a knife? Being able to quickly adapt to the end of the world and gradually grow up is already an amazing character. You chop slowly, Ao Shin said to Shiyu, then faced Tang Yingying. Continue to attract flesh and zombies, he doesn't know how long he will have to chop them. Tang Yingying shrugged. The nearby zombies have been lured away. It will take at least a day before zombies from far away gather. No more zombies. Ao Shin felt very sorry. It seemed that he had killed all the zombies nearby. But it doesn't matter, there will never be a shortage of zombies in the apocalypse. Because of the characteristics of zombie viruses, these zombie corpses will evolve and become stronger existences after being eaten by other zombies. After thinking about it, he said to Luo Yi, "Let your people come out and move these zombie corpses to the end of the 4 streets." What can attract zombies is not only their popularity, but also their corpses, which are good things to promote their evolution. After the zombies in the distance evolve, it's time to continue harvesting. So happy. Ao Shin thought so. Luo Yi listened to his words and did as he was told. People in the defensive position walked out one after another and began to carry the corpses of zombies and transport them to the end of the street. Beside the position, Shi Yu was still slashing with one knife after another. I don't know how long it will take to cut. But what was visible to the naked eye was that a small gap had been cut in the hairy corpse's cervical vertebrae. Everyone was busy, and Ao Shin had nothing to do for the time being, so she said to Luo Yi, "Want to join me?" Luo Yi was shocked. What he worried about happened still. This strong man was recruiting him. Tang Yingying, who looked bored next to her, also pricked up her ears and listened to Luo Yi's choice. Even Shi Yu, who kept slashing with his sword, paused for a moment. Luo Yi was silent for a moment and said with a wry smile, "Can I refuse?" Ao Shin still greeted him with a smile. "What do you think?" Why, in the end of the world, the strong are respected. Luo Yi knew that he had no choice and could only ask, "What benefits can we get?" Perhaps it was because Ao Shin had been very approachable since coming into contact with them that Luo Yi dared to ask this. Ao Shin said, "Better life, stronger faster." Luo Yi's expression didn't change much when he heard these 2 points. This promise was too false and he wanted to hear something practical. "If you purchase items through me instead of God-given space, I will give you a 50% discount." Although the 5% discount is not much, the points are precious, and every point saved is good. This benefit is extremely exciting. Not to mention the ordinary people in Luo Yi's influence, even he was very excited. A big sharp knife costs 100,000 points, and you can save 5,000 points with a 50% discount. That's 5,000 points. These 5,000 points will be an extremely cost-effective deal if used to win people's hearts. Good, he responded loudly. Throwing the saw-toothed sword Zanfang on the ground, he knelt down on one knee to express his loyalty to Ao Shin. "Boss Ao, Luo Yi is willing to serve you." Seeing his loyalty, Tang Yingying and Shi Yu also came to Luo Yi's back. "Boss Ao, Tang Yingying, Shi Yu is willing to be loyal to you." He nodded with satisfaction, asked them to stand up, and said to Shi Yu, "You continue to chop the hairy corpse, your movements are too slow." Conquering Luo Yi's forces, especially Tang Yingying, will make it easier to gain points in the future. When those who went to transport the corpse returned, Luo Yi announced to them his decision to be loyal to Ao Shin. "Stay or go as you like, I won't force you." Having said that, who dares to leave? With their strength, they can still survive if they stay together as a group, but leaving alone is just seeking death. No one had any objections. Ao Shin asked Luo Yi to count them. There were 172 people in total. Most of them are young and strong. Under Luo Yi's control, these people can maintain order fairly well. Leaving Han Shuang behind to watch Shi Yu and others, Ao Shin took Tang Yingying and left temporarily. "You come with me." With that said, regardless of whether Tang Yingying agreed or not, he transformed into a dragon, grabbed Tang Yingying and flew away. "Yingying." Luo Yi was shocked, and Shi Yu was also shocked. "Boss, where are you taking Yingying?" From the horizon, Qinglong's voice came, "Hurry up and kill that furry corpse, and I'll get another one." Ah! In the dragon's claws, little Tang Yingying hugged his claws tightly and screamed wildly, "I'm afraid of heights, boss." Although the dragon's claws held her tightly, she still hugged one claw tightly, curled up crazily, and clamped her legs around the other claw, refusing to let go. The sound of the wind roaring around me was the sound of airflow caused by fast flight. Looking up is a huge dragon body, completely blocking the scenery above. Below her, the buildings and crowds were rapidly shrinking, and her heart was pounding. If her legs hadn't been clamped tightly, she would have almost peed. Her blood was boiling and her head was dizzy. She had no idea where Ao Shin had taken her. As I gradually got used to it, I couldn't help but start thinking wildly. Why did the boss take me alone? Are you going to do something to me? Should I agree or refuse? I heard it hurts, and the boss is so strong. Woo woo woo. Will I get pregnant? If I am pregnant, will I give birth? What will the child be named? Ao Shin, who turned into a dragon and flew, had no idea what the little thing in his claws was thinking. Soon, when he saw a group of zombies wandering aimlessly below, he fell from the sky and stood on a tall building. He released his claws and swung them down. Huh. He looked down and saw that Tang Yingying was still holding his claws tightly and refused to let go. Her eyes were blurred. I don't know if she was scared or thinking about something. Hey, it's coming down. Ah, Tang Yingying woke up with a start, but when she saw that she was on the roof of a 30-story building, she was scared and held him tighter. It's too high. I don't dare. Ao Shin had no choice but to come to the middle of the rooftop, which gave her some sense of security. She carefully loosened her arms and legs and stood on the rooftop, not daring to move forward at all. Boss, why did you bring me to the rooftop? What she thought in her heart was, woo woo woo, boss brought me to the rooftop, I can't really guess right. He is so strong, I don't seem to be able to resist. However, after Ao Shin put her down, he did not turn into a human form, but said, use your ability to attract nearby zombies. Hairy zombies and those below hairy zombies. Before the voice fell, he swooped down. When he was still 10 meters from the ground, he turned into a human form, stepped on the void with his feet, walked 2 steps in the air and landed safely. Ha! Tang Yingying on the rooftop blinked a pair of cute big eyes. Boss, aren't you going to take me? I think you thought wrong. Woo woo woo. So embarrassing. Although there was no one around and no one heard her inner voice, the girl's cheeks turned red instantly. A person was shy here for a long time, and then he remembered that Ao Shin said she would help him attract monsters, and quickly released the scent to attract zombies, but she still didn't dare to go to the edge of the roof to look down. A person sat alone on the roof, using his ability and humming a little song. Downstairs, Ao Shin was killing zombies. Although there were many zombies wandering here, they were not yet at the level of a zombie tide. However, Tang Yingying was constantly attracting zombies for him upstairs, which also caused him to never stop fighting. Ordinary zombies were killed directly, and zombies were broken off and thrown into the store next to them. He fought happily, and although his domineering aura grew slowly, he could feel it. The physical strength was a little stronger, and the domineering aura was spreading to the flesh and blood. According to the rough classification in the previous life, he was probably in the middle stage of the Iron Bone realm. When the bones were completely transformed into diamond, the power could be generated from the inside, strengthening the flesh and blood veins, and reaching the huge power realm. This is due to the talent of the domineering genius, which allows him to practice very quickly. Finally, a hairy corpse was attracted. He groaned excitedly, but did not enter the human beast form. Instead, he took off the steel whip behind him and tried to fight the hairy corpse. When the two sides' strengths intersected, Ao Shin only felt a huge force coming, and his feet could not help but retreat several steps. Without the blessing of the Azure Dragon, his strength was still not enough. But it was a feat to fight against the 3-star hairy corpse in the Iron Bone realm without being killed instantly. The steel whip was covered with armed color. He held the whip in one hand and stabbed with the finger gun in the other hand. Under his feet, he used the power of the Stormfoot to kick hard. But the hairy corpse blocked with both arms and easily blocked the attack of the steel whip, and its finger gun was also blocked by the hairy corpse's other fist. The leg method was swift, causing the wind to whistle, but still no slash was made. Practicing the 3-foot combat skills of shaving, moonstep and storm kick, if you come to learn again in the divine foot realm, your progress will be very fast. But he is just a man of iron, and his physique is hardly strong enough to kick or strike. With his excellent fighting skills, Ao Shin was still able to deal with him even though he was at a disadvantage by Mao Ji. The other zombies around him made his situation even more difficult. But this situation is exactly what he needs. This kind of crisis-ridden battle environment can also bring him back to the feeling of fighting in his previous life. I have been struggling on the edge of life and death, but have I ever had such a pleasure of killing everything in an instant? But if you only indulge in instant kills, the growth of your combat skills will be slowed down, and the practice of domineering will also be slowed down. Therefore, he would often deliberately create this tense fighting atmosphere to push himself. Without turning on dragon transformation, strength, agility, reaction speed, etc. all drop a lot. He seeks a killing opportunity amid a horde of zombies. Boom! He dodged an attack from a zombie, broke the left leg of a zombie, and kicked out again, shattering the sternum of a zombie. The steel whip fell, resisting Mao Ji's fist. When there is an attack that is too late to resist, the local armor will be hardened, or iron blocks will be used briefly to resist. The force of the zombies' attacks made his blood boil, and every attack from the zombies made him retreat. But he didn't panic, but instead inspired a stronger will to fight. The domineering energy was running wildly, and every time it collided with the enemy, the force of the impact strengthened its own flesh and blood. This is the path that those who exercise must take. Behind him was the building where Tang Yingying was located. Mao Ji's attack could easily break the steel and concrete of the tall building, so he retreated while attacking in other directions. The steel whip in his hand became more and more proficient in using, and it was not far from the level of his previous life's sword skills. Boom! He clashed fists with the zombie again. He suddenly felt pain in his lower abdomen and became unstable. His face changed drastically and he urgently opened the iron block to resist the attack of a zombie. It was the ominous nature on Mao Ji's body that was eroding his own energy and blood. He had been fighting this furry corpse for too long, and he couldn't resist it. With a dragon roar, he finally activated his dragon transformation, and powerful blood surged out of his body, dispersing the ominous aura. The pain in his lower abdomen was relieved, now it was time for him to fight back. With a roar, he hit Mao Ji's fist with a whip. This time, it was no longer him who retreated, but Mao Ji. At the same time, he kicked out and broke the right leg of a zombie. The steel whip was swung down one after another, and the zombie's limbs had been broken. With one kick, he kicked the zombie into the nearby store. Furious, Mao Ji jumped up again. The steel whip in his hand came first and hit the joint of Mao Ji's arm. This is the benefit of improved combat skills. The other dragon claw is intertwined with the fingers of the other hand of the corpse. The force penetrated the fingertips and pierced into the flesh and blood of the hairy corpse's palm. The claws of the hairy corpse were also very sharp, and they also wanted to pierce his flesh. But how hard are dragon scales? Coupled with the hardening of the color of the weapon, Mao Ji's nails seemed to be buckled on a piece of steel. He exerted force with his 5 fingers. A monster like Mao Ji, who only had killing instinct but lacked fighting skills, had no time to defend himself. The 5 fingers of his right hand were torn off by him. The other arm was hit one after another by the steel whip. Although it wanted to attack Ao Shin's body, Ao Shin could always hit his arm faster than him. Among them, the joint position has been taken care of many times, and Mao Ji's left arm has been hanging down as softly as noodles. The left hand was holding the fur corpse's right hand, which had 5 fingers broken off. When the steel whip broke the joints of his left arm, he used his left paw to pull hard, causing his body to stagger, and the steel whip fell down. This time, it hit his right arm and shoulder. The zombies and corpses around him were whipped by his dragon tail and couldn't get close. Occasionally, those who could get close would have their bones broken by his powerful kicks. Electricity wrapped around the steel whip, adding a bit more power to the weapon. 10 minutes later, the furry corpse had its limbs and spine broken by him. Trample it underfoot, pierce its back with a steel whip, and nail it to the ground. Ao Shin releases her dragon form and fights other zombies with her bare hands. Another half-hour later, he had slaughtered all the zombies around him, and no more zombies were attracted from the distance. They must have been killed, or Tang Yingying on the roof was exhausted. He exchanged a few bottles of spirits from the God-given space and poured them down to cleanse the blood. He also spent 10,000 points from the God-given space to exchange for a sharp knife-level iron chain. Take the chain and go to the nearby store. There are zombies that he destroyed here, 23 in total. He used a finger gun to pierce the bones of the zombies and then passed them through with chains. 23 zombies were pierced in a string by him. Finally, he dragged the bunch of zombies to the outside of the store, pulled out the steel whip, used the steel whip to pierce the pipa bone of the corpse, and then strung him together with the bunch of zombies. Holding one end of the iron chain, he transformed into a dragon and flew into the air to reach the high building. Sure enough, she saw Tang Yingying slumped on the ground panting. While panting, I didn't know what I was thinking. Gone. he shouted loudly, waking up Tang Yingying, who was in a daze. Just when the girl was surprised that he finally appeared, she saw a bunch of zombies and fur corpses in his claws. Just like a bunch of candied haws. What the hell, boss, you are so fierce. As soon as she finished speaking, she saw Qinglong falling down, grabbing her with his other claw and flying up into the sky. Ah! The girl who was afraid of heights screamed again, hugging the dragon's claws tightly with her whole body and not daring to let go. The green dragon flew into the clouds. The thin air made the girl feel a little suffocated, but it was also a little more novel and exciting. Soon, Qinglong landed at their original intersection. People here had begun to eat and rest. Only Shi Yu was already struggling to chop off Mao Shi's head. An iron chain was thrown from the sky, creating a cloud of dust. When the dust dispersed, Luo Yi and others gasped. A large group of zombies on the chain and a furry corpse covered with red hair frightened them. Qinglong fell down and shook it several times before throwing down Tang Yingying, who was holding her paw tightly. He transformed into a human again and landed on the ground to check on Shi Yu's progress. Well, very good, most of it has been cut off. Come on, these next ones are all yours. Ao Shin's encouraging words made Shi Yu want to cry. He has been chopping down one furry corpse for so long, and now there is another one, and there are so many zombies. How long will he chopping down? But in Luo Yi's team, points are distributed uniformly based on contribution. He has put in so much effort and will definitely be assigned a lot of points this time, so he is still very motivated. It was already dusk, and Ao Shin was extremely exhausted from this battle. It would have been okay if he was just fighting the furry corpse, but he didn't turn on the dragon transformation at the beginning and fought purely with physical skills, which consumed a lot of energy. I don't plan to continue fighting now. I'm going to rest and recharge my batteries before continuing tomorrow. Luo Yi took this group of people to a building on the north side of the street. At this time, Ao Shin finally understood how they held together under the gaze of zombies. The key is still Tang Yingying. Tang Yingying releases the same smell as zombies, covering the building. In this way, the popularity of the building can be concealed. But this kind of cover-up is not as convenient as Tang Yingying's use on herself. On the one hand, this will increase the consumption of Tang Yingying's physical strength. On the other hand, once a zombie wanders into the room, it will be able to feel the scent of humans when it gets close. However, as long as the door is locked and the popularity is not exposed, zombies will usually not violently break into the door. Of course, Tang Yingying can have a good sleep today. Because the nearby zombies were killed by Ao Shin, there was no need for her to release her abilities to cover up her popularity. He exchanged a piece of Neptune-like barbecue from the God-given space, ate it in big gulps, and used life return to absorb all its energy. Then he lay down on a bed and slept. Outside the house, the sound of dong 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 sounded steadily. That was Shi Yu, who was still trying to chop off the corpse's head. Everyone fell asleep with the sound of dong dong dong. When the bright moon hung high and the temperature cooled down a little, Shi Yu collapsed on the ground, panting heavily. In front of him was a furry corpse with its limbs removed. The corpse's head opened wide and rolled down beside him. Ha! Finally cut it off. Putting the autumn water into the scabbard, he felt his arms were sore and his muscles were trembling. However, seeing his 1 million points in the God-given space, all the pain and fatigue seemed to dissipate in an instant. 1 million points. 1 million. This is the price of a supremely sharp knife. If I run away now, these 1 million points will be mine. There is also this big sharp knife, I can also take it with you. Such greedy thoughts inevitably arise in his mind. It's only been more than a month since the end of the world, and he has 1 million points. Even the powerful Azure Dragon ability user Ao Shin doesn't have so many points. All kinds of combat skills and potions can be purchased. Ordinary blood factor is only 1 million points. Although there are side effects of losing feelings, are feelings useful in the apocalypse? His heart was burning and he licked his lips unconsciously. But what he didn't see was that in the shadow not far away, a petite figure was quietly looking at him. The figure's clothes were tattered and stained with blood, and his face was hidden in the darkness. On the top of the building, behind an open window, a pair of eyes were quietly staring here. Shi Yu stared at Chushui, staring blankly at Mao Ji's body. But soon, he shuddered and gave himself a big slap in the mouth. The clear voice echoed in the dark night, and Shiyu cursed himself secretly. What's wrong with me? Uncle Luo was so kind to me, he even gave me the devil fruit. And Yingying, if I escape, Uncle Luo and Yingying will be killed by the Qinglong boss. Thinking of Tang Yingying, he sighed again. Hey, it seems that Yingying is interested in the big boss. I don't seem to have any hope. Sitting on the ground, thinking of Tang Yingying's pretty face, he was stunned for a long time. But the boss doesn't seem to be interested in Yingying. I'm not without hope. Suddenly feeling that life was full of motivation again, he got up and returned to the tall building where everyone was resting. After he entered the building, the petite figure emerged from the darkness. It's Han Shuang. She went out so late to look for food. She was embarrassed to eat zombies in front of everyone during the day. Ao Shin asked her to watch these people. She couldn't run far, so she could only come out at this time. Seeing the dead body on the ground, she swallowed and looked around, but there was no one there. Then she grabbed Maoji's body and ran quickly to a pharmacy next door. The eyes on the roof were preparing to sleep after seeing Shiyu return to the high building. Suddenly they saw a figure jumping in front of Maoji, and his eyes suddenly opened wide. Is her? What is she doing holding the dead body at night? Unfortunately, the door of the drugstore blocked his view, so he couldn't see what Han Shuang was doing while holding Maoji's body. In the pharmacy, Han Shuang peeled off the red hair of the corpse, her teeth crystallized in her mouth, and she took a big bite. Blood flowed down the corner of her mouth. After becoming a Jingren, the smelly zombie meat was so delicious to her taste. Even more delicious than the best meal she had ever had as a human. Crunch. The bones of the furry corpse were hard and she couldn't bite them, but those brittle bones were crunchy and delicious when she bit them. Soon, she devoured half of the furry corpse, burped comfortably, and hid the remaining half of the furry corpse under the collapsed medicine cabinet in the drugstore. I'll save this for breakfast tomorrow. After wiping the blood on her body for a moment, she quietly returned to the high-rise building where everyone lived and slept in a room arranged by Luo Yi for herself. Just after she fell asleep, another figure quietly came downstairs and came to the pharmacy. However, he saw nothing. After rummaging through the drugstore, he suddenly gasped when he opened a fallen medicine cabinet. What am I doing? Half of Maoji's body was eaten away, and the remaining half was still dripping with blood. Eat, eat. His hands were shaking, thinking of what Tang Yingying said during the day. Uncle Luo, I don't feel like she is human. Under the dim moonlight, a resolute face was reflected. It was Luo Yi. Behind him, there was suddenly a strange noise, which shocked him and turned around quickly. A pair of big dark eyes were staring at him and the half-haired corpse next to him. I almost screamed, but after seeing the figure clearly, I breathed a sigh of relief. Yingying, why did you come out without sleeping in the middle of the night? The person who came was Tang Yingying. She looked at the half-haired corpse on the ground with a horrified face. Luo, Uncle Luo, was it eaten by that woman? During the day, she was held by Ao Shin's claws and flew in the sky. In the middle of the night, she dreamed of falling from a high altitude and suddenly woke up. She opened the window to get some air, but she happened to see someone running into the drugstore carrying the corpse. Out of curiosity, she secretly followed Han Shuang out. When Han Shuang returned, she saw that it was Han Shuang who was hiding in the shadows. After confirming that Han Shuang had returned upstairs, she was about to enter the pharmacy when she saw Luo Yi coming down from upstairs and going straight into the pharmacy. Only then did she follow. Is her? Luo Yi felt dizzy. Why would a person eat zombies? Even if you don't feel sick, aren't you afraid of contracting the zombie virus? Uncle Luo, I'm afraid she really isn't human. Tang Yingying recalled Han Shuang's sickly face and gloomy temperament. When you get closer, you can smell something similar to zombies. This is not what humans should have. She's not a human, and she doesn't look like a zombie. What is she? Does the boss know that she is not human? The two of them looked at each other with big eyes and small eyes, with indescribable shock in their expressions. The two men stuffed half of the body under the collapsed medicine cabinet and carefully returned to the building. The next day, at the crossroads, Shiyu transferred the points gained from killing Maoji yesterday to Ao Shin. Chu Shui was bought directly by Luo Yi, with Ao Shin's promise of a 50% discount. It cost 95,000 points, and Ao Shin received 995,000 points. Why don't you run when you get 1,000,000 points? Ao Shin asked him curiously. Not many normal people could withstand such a large amount of wealth. Shi Yu said sternly. My father said that when one lives in this world, one should put integrity first. Regarding his words, Ao Shin was noncommittal. In the end of the world, just listen to such words. He was really not afraid of Shi Yu escaping if he allowed Shi Yu to chop up corpses alone outside. With Shi Yu's strength, which is not even in the copper skin realm, where can he escape to? You continue to kill these zombies. On the ground, the zombies and fur corpses strung up by iron chains were still squirming and struggling. But even their bones were broken, and it was almost impossible to move using muscle power alone. Shi Yu replied respectfully, yes. Looking around, there are zombies wandering at the end of the street. They were eating the corpses of other zombies on the ground. But one night's attraction is still not enough. Tang Yingying released a scent to attract the corpses, but there were only 42 corpses. These corpses rushed over quickly and were maimed by Ao Shin in an instant. Throw it in front of the defensive position at the intersection, and let the people inside come out and kill it. While everyone was busy, Han Shuang quietly walked into the drugstore last night. When she saw that the drugstore seemed to have been moved after she left, she frowned and moved the collapsed medicine cabinet. When she saw that half of the corpse was still there, she didn't think much about it. The corpse was eaten. Not far away, Luo Yi and Tang Yingying had been paying attention to Han Shuang. When they saw her walking into the pharmacy, their faces showed panic. The two looked at each other, as if wondering whether to tell Ao Shin. But Luo Yi shook his head gently, and they could only suppress their doubts and fears. Not long after, Han Shuang walked out of the pharmacy. There was still a trace of blood on the corner of her mouth. Seeing this scene, Luo Yi and Tang Yingying confirmed that she was indeed eating the corpse. When Han Shuang returned, although he did not approach them, they all took a step back quietly, for fear that Han Shuang would suddenly change and cause harm to others. Leaving these people to chop up the corpse, he grabbed Tang Yingying and flew into the sky again. Ah! The girl who was afraid of heights screamed again without any preparation. This time, he was further away. A pair of dragon eyes stared downwards, but there was no trace of the hairy corpse. For him, zombies were of no use except for redeeming points. To improve his strength, he had to get zombie-level monsters. This time, after flying for 10 kilometers, he just saw a familiar red hair. However, there are no high-rise buildings here, which is not suitable for Tang Yingying to escape. After thinking for a while, he came to the nearest tall building and put Tang Yingying down. At the same time, he entered the God-given space and transferred 100,000 points to Meng Kui, allowing him to redeem the Halu Stone processing method. It's a pity that items cannot be transferred in the God-given space. Otherwise, he could save 20,000 points by exchanging the processing method himself and giving it to Meng Kui. But there is no time to go back now, so we can only waste it. After putting down Tang Yingying, he said that he would go and lure the furry corpse over. After he comes over, you can use your ability to lure more zombies over to me. Taking advantage of the fact that the God-given space has not yet modified the points rules, he wants to earn more. It's best to get 110 million so that you can exchange the invisible black blood factor and the magic potion. He transformed into a dragon again and came to the place where he saw the hairy corpse before. He turned into a human and fell down, took off the steel whip from his back and smashed it down hard. Roar! Mao Ji was angry, and he beat him while heading towards the high-rise building where Tang Yingying was. The hairy corpse was attracted by his rich blood energy and pursued him closely. Not only the hairy corpse, but also other zombies around him were also attracted. The 6 postures are used alternately, the armed color covers the body, and the seeing and hearing color always detects the strangeness in the surroundings. He struggled to deal with these zombies. Not enough, not enough, not enough pressure. Domineering power is not only about squeezing physical strength, but also about exploring potential in times of life and death crisis. Otherwise, with the effort Shi Yu put into chopping off the hairy corpse's head, his strength should have improved. But his domineering power has not grown much, and he still cannot reach the copper skin realm. That's the reason. Therefore, the same physical exertion and fighting can improve strength far more than labor and exercise. Why doesn't Tang Yingying attract zombies? Ao Shin muttered, is she asleep? In fact, what he didn't know was that because Tang Yingying was afraid of heights, she stayed in the middle of the roof and didn't dare to go to the edge to look down, so she didn't know when he would arrive. He yelled, Tang Yingying, it's time to attract the monsters. A roar like a dragon's roar soared into the sky, waking up the girl who was afraid of heights on the top of the building. Ah! Got it. She tried her best to shout, but her voice was still limited. With the ability to transport fragrant fruits, the invisible fragrance spreads around. A large number of zombies were attracted from a distance. Ao Shin cheered up but became more and more courageous as he fought. The power of various moves is also a bit more powerful. It wasn't until his body gradually stagnated due to the ominous erosion that he turned on his human animal form again and used powerful blood to dispel the ominous aura in his body. 3 hours later, Mao's corpse fell under him with its limbs and spine broken. There are also a large number of zombie corpses, flesh corpses, and zombies' maimed bodies around. He exchanged it for a bottle of strong wine and rinsed his body, then exchanged it for a large piece of Neptune barbecue, returned it with life, and turned it into physical energy. After eating, he exchanged it for an iron chain as usual, penetrated the bones of the zombies and furry corpses, and brought them to the roof. Tang Yingying on the roof was watching videos in the God-given space. When she felt someone coming up, she quickly exited the God-given space. When she saw the bunch of zombies and fur corpses again, she was no longer surprised. Boss, I just uploaded a video, and a new zombie appeared. It's stronger than the furry zombie. 7 ability users joined forces to surround it. As a result, 3 were killed and 2 were seriously injured. Only 2 escaped with minor injuries. With that said, she also shared the video link with Ao Shin. The person filming this battle was far away, causing the footage to be somewhat blurry. But he could still see the appearance of what Tang Yingying called a new type of zombie. I saw that in addition to red hair, this zombie also had a large number of exoskeletons growing out of it. It could not only be used as bone armor to protect the body, but it could also be extended and turned into a bone knife for attack. Moreover, although this zombie still seems to have no intelligence, its fighting movements are becoming more and more skillful. It seems that in addition to the instinct to kill and infect, it also has a fighting instinct. That is a natural killer, a natural warrior. Chapter 71. 4-star zombies have appeared so soon. Ao Shin was surprised. This progress was twice as fast as in his previous life. Was it because of the butterfly effect caused by his rebirth? He didn't know, but he felt more urgent. He was only at the 2nd level Iron Bone realm at present. Even with the Azure Dragon Fruit, he was no match for the 4-star zombies. The 4-star zombies had a layer of bone armor formed on the surface of their bodies by the virus in their bodies. They were called bone zombies or martial zombies. Those 7 people with abilities, who were not even at the Iron Bone realm, dared to challenge the martial zombies. They were lucky not to be completely wiped out. Looking at the location where the video was posted, it was indeed America on the other side of the ocean. America used nuclear weapons to first catalyze the emergence of 4-star zombies, which was the same as in the previous life. However, it was not only America that used nuclear weapons. The northern power neighboring China also used nuclear weapons to bomb zombies. Their zombies evolved very quickly. Of course, the most terrifying thing is not America and the northern big country, but India, west of China. Their nuclear arsenal exploded. All the nuclear eggs were ignited. The city where they stored the nuclear eggs was blown to ashes. Moreover, the radiation spread to half of India, and the evolution of zombies there ranked first in the world. Of course, this is a later story. The core city of India is now in ruins. Although the zombie virus is evolving rapidly, the zombies are also blown to pieces, and zombies from the periphery need to enter to receive the upgrade gift package. Because India is adjacent to China, China has also been hit hard by the zombies from India. Boss, can you beat this kind of zombie? Tang Yingying asked. Ao Shin shook his head. With my current strength, it's difficult. Even you can't beat it. Tang Yingying was shocked. She couldn't directly feel the horror of the martial corpse from the video. But Ao Shin is already the most powerful human in her knowledge, and even he can't do anything. If a martial corpse also appears in Yuzhou, how should they deal with it? Ao Shin said. Don't think too much, work hard to improve yourself is the truth. You can't just use it to release the power of the fruit, your own strength is equally important. Oh, Tang Yingying said, and suddenly thought of Han Shuang's strangeness. After struggling for a moment, she couldn't help asking. Boss, the woman you brought, she is a little bit wrong, did you notice it? Ao Shin was surprised. Did you find out? He didn't intend to hide Han Shuang's identity as a crystal man. When people's exploration of the end of the world increases, they will gradually learn about the crystal man. At that time, Han Shuang's identity will naturally be exposed. He didn't intend to let Han Shuang live in hiding. In this life, his principle is to suppress everything with absolute strength. Boss, do you know? This time it was Tang Yingying's turn to be surprised. She thought Ao Shin didn't know that Han Shuang ate zombie meat. Then he talked about what he saw and heard last night. Boss, she ate Mao's corpse, is she still human? Ao Shin said bluntly. No. Ao Shin told Tang Yingying about the crystal people and told her about the awakening crystal. Oh my god, there is such a monster. The girl said it was eye-opening. In other words, the brain crystals of this kind of crystal beast or crystal person can promote the growth and awakening of abilities of espers. Isn't this a shortcut to becoming stronger? She suddenly thought. In this case, other ability users will try their best to kill Han Shuang. Ao Shin's answer was short but powerful. Whoever dares to touch my people will die. Oh, cake seller. Tang Yingying's face suddenly turned red. Well, boss, am I yours now? Of course, Ao Shin said with a smile. As long as you take refuge in me, you are my people. So, if someone bullies me, you will help me, right? Tang Yingying asked expectantly, blinking her big cute eyes. That's for sure. Who bullied you? Ao Shin felt that Tang Yingying must be in trouble if she asked this. Sure enough, Tang Yingying's eyes lit up and she said bitterly, he is a friend of mine. We fled together, but after I found a devil fruit, she stabbed me in the back. Tang Yingying slowly recounted her past experiences. To put it simply, she was stabbed in the back by her former best friend and almost killed. After returning, a bad person sued her first to ruin her reputation. Finally, he and several men arrested her and wanted to humiliate her. If Uncle Luo and Brother Shido hadn't saved me, I would be dead now. She said through gritted teeth, before the end of the world, that was my best friend. Why would she do this to me? She didn't understand. She had obviously vowed to be the best in the world, but why did she end up like this for a little profit? If she wants it, she won't necessarily give it to her. Why do you want to kill yourself? What a shame that after escaping her killer, he actually forgave her despite her crying. Tang Yingying felt itchy with hatred when she thought of that woman. What's her name? Ao Shin is not interested in Tang Yingying's story, but now that Tang Yingying is his subordinate, if he encounters her, it would be a good idea to avenge her. Su Ru. After Tang Yingying said the name, Ao Shin's expression suddenly changed. Even her voice raised a bit. Say it again, what's your name? Tang Yingying, who was immersed in anger, was frightened by his momentum and quickly repeated. Su Ru. Boss, do you know her? If she is your good friend, I don't have to take revenge. The girl who was gritting her teeth just now was instantly full of desire to survive. But Ao Shin's eyes revealed murderous intent that she had never seen before. That was the murderous intention that Ao Shin never showed even when he was fighting zombies. What does she look like? Ao Shin took a deep breath to suppress her emotions. Tang Yingying quickly touched her pocket and took out a torn photo. This is her. It can be seen that they were indeed the best and the best in the world. Otherwise, in the information age, who would carry around other people's physical photos? Ao Shin got married. The girl in the photo is full of youthful atmosphere. She smiles brightly and wears a beautiful dress. This smile is quite charming. This face gradually merged with the memory from the previous life. Report. Why not report it? He laughed loudly. Su Ru, it's great to see you again. He said it was nice, but Tang Yingying always felt that he was going to chop Su Ru alive. Boss, do you have a grudge? Ao Shin did not answer. Do you know where she is? Tang Yingying quickly replied. I know. She is in the north of the provincial capital. I heard that she found a big brother named Zhao Chengkong, who is also an ability user. I didn't expect to find out the news about Su-ru so quickly. Ao Shin was furious. He was tricked to death by her in his previous life. He thought it would take some time before he could get news from her, but it turned out that she was Tang Yingying's former friend. She tricked you. How do you still know her information? Ao Shin was curious. Logically speaking, after Tang Yingying and Su-ru broke up, the two parties should have cut off contact with each other. Su-ru herself was not a big shot. Why did Tang Yingying know her whereabouts so well? Tang Yingying said, I still have her friends. After she got close to the boss, she would often mock me. She also said that her boss would kill Uncle Luo and then find dozens of men to kill me. The girl's silver teeth clenched loudly. It was obvious that she had always been the victim, so why was she so resentful of herself? Tisk tisk. Ao Shin sneered. He was as vicious as ever. He understood Su-ru's mentality. Since she was offended, she would fight to the death. In this way, he understood that Su-ru, who was clearly close to the boss in the previous life, would meet him. Zhao Chengkong is an ability user from the northern part of Yuzhou provincial city, and his ambitions are not small. However, he was defeated by the one from the divine capital and the entire force was annexed. Then, that person expanded eastward and met Luo Yi and others. The result was obvious. Luo Yi lost. Luo Yi and others were recruited. Tang Yingying was reused because of her special abilities, and Su-ru was worried about being retaliated. This was how pitiful he looked when he met her later. He guessed that was probably the case. As for how Su-ru tricked her, just as everyone thought, this cliché plot will not be used in word count. North of the city, Ao Shin raised his eyes and looked to the north. Now that he had learned the news about his enemy, he didn't want to wait any longer. Long Hua grabbed Tang Yingying and the bunch of zombies on the ground, flew back to the intersection where Luo Yi and others were, and threw the zombies and the bunch of corpses down. Another large cloud of smoke and dust rose up, and Shi Yu, who was chopping off the corpse's head, showed a look of pain and joy on his face. Shaking off Tang Yingying from his paw, he rushed into the sky and headed straight towards the north of the city. Why is the boss running in such a hurry? Shi Yu just looked up and saw Ao Shin leaving again, and this time he didn't even take Tang Yingying with him. Where was he going? Yingying, boss, what is this? Luo Yi felt that Tang Yingying should know something, so he came to ask. Tang Yingying was still confused about falling from a high altitude. When she heard Luo Yi's question, it took her a long time to react. Oh, the boss seems to be looking for Zhao Chengkong. Zhao Chengkong, isn't he in the north of the city? Why is the boss looking for him? Luo Yi was confused, but he immediately thought, do you want to conquer Zhao Chengkong's forces? Since Ao Shin subdued him, it is also reasonable to subdue other gathered crowds. He believes that a strong person like Ao Shin will definitely dominate one side. I told the boss about Su-ru, and then the boss seemed very angry and threw me here and ran away without saying anything. I thought maybe Su-ru had offended him. Tang Yingying sorted out the information in her brain and still found it incredible. Su-ru was once her best friend. At that time, the two of them talked about almost everything. Have you never heard that she knew this big boss? Moreover, judging from Ao Shin's appearance, he is at least the type to kill his father and seize his wife. What did Su-ru do to her? She couldn't figure it out no matter how hard she thought. Luo Yi looked at Shi Yu's tired look, thought for a moment, and said to the others, come out, I'll give each of you a sharp knife. Come and chop these zombies that were crippled by the boss. Shi Yu's energy was almost completely restrained by the hairy corpse. Before he even cut off the head of the hairy corpse yesterday, Ao Shin got another one. I don't know how long it will take for him to finish cutting. So, let others help too. Although their strength is not high, they are all people who have redeemed the domineering practice method, and their physical strength is now much stronger than before the end of the world. Coupled with the sharp knife-level weapons, although they still can't cut down the zombies, working in pairs and sawing and sharpening the zombies' necks with knives can also have some effect. In the sky, Ao Shin soared rapidly on the flame clouds. In the center of the city, he fell from the sky and stood on a tall building to rest. Below, it was extremely chaotic, and the level of chaos was completely different from other places. Because, not many people cause the chaos, but countless animals. Looking ahead, there is an extremely spacious gate with the words, Provincial City Zoo, written on it. Zombie viruses do not only infect humans. However, the most common ones in cities are cats and dogs. Especially in small cities like Byeonchang, there are almost no ferocious dogs. Those pet cats and dogs, even if they are infected, are the zombies with the lowest combat effectiveness and are the easiest points to obtain. Moreover, due to their small size, many cats and dogs have their heads eaten by zombies and lose the possibility of turning into corpses. It can only be reduced to a petri dish for zombie viruses, allowing other zombies to eat up the evolution. But it's different here. These animals in the zoo are far more dangerous than cats and dogs. After being infected, you will become a more powerful zombie. Of course, the most terrifying thing is not that they are infected, but that these large animals drink the blood of zombies, or eat zombie meat due to hunger and turn into crystal beasts. With virus resistance, they not only devour the flesh and blood of zombies, but also crave the flesh and blood of living creatures. The level of danger is even higher than that of zombies. Boom! Jumping down from a tall building, a finger gun pierced the head of a zombie, and he punched its head into pieces. Ao Shin kicked sideways and heard a clicking sound and the sound of crystal shattering. Ao Shin reached out and grabbed the wolf's head, and pierced his head with 10 fingers like hooks. He took out a piece of crystal stained with brain matter and threw the body away. Snapped. Another kick, kicking away a zebra that had evolved into a corpse. This kick hit its sternum, directly breaking its sternum. The probability of becoming a crystal beast is still too low. Ao Shin walked among the zombies like a leisurely pace. After killing for an hour, he only got 3 more awakening crystals in his hand. They are all the result of 1 star. Is that guy not here anymore? He was searching while fighting. After falling from here, apart from collecting a few awakening crystals, the most important purpose was to find that person. Perhaps he shouldn't be called a human being, because his true body is a Bengal white tiger. But in the end of the world, he ate a devil fruit and gained powerful combat power. Moreover, after being subdued by the one from Shendu, he also became the #1 warrior in his power. Of course, not only humans can eat devil fruits, and even the God-given space is not only available to humans. However, most creatures have no intelligence and cannot operate. Even if you get points by killing zombies, you don't know how to exchange them for items. However, it would be different if there were devil fruits. An already powerful beast, coupled with the devil fruit and domineering power, its combat power surpasses that of most humans. When he saw the back of the zoo, he remembered that this person was very valuable as his subordinate. Moreover, the ferocious beast has a pure mind. Once it recognizes its master, it is difficult to betray it and can be regarded as a confidant. He fought his way into the zoo, killed him and jumped out from behind, but he couldn't find the tiger along the way. There are 2 more 1-star crystals and 1 2-star crystal in his hand. There's no place to put it, so he can't hold it all the time. Ao Shin scratched his head, looked around, and entered a store with collapsed walls. He dug out a garbage bag from the ruins and put the 6 crystals in it. Since he was subdued by the one from the divine capital, it is very likely that he went to the west. But now I want to go north to take revenge. What should I do? After thinking for a moment, he decided to take revenge first. Having an extra tiger under his command is just the icing on the cake. He is a majestic green dragon, so what else can he do without a white tiger? But revenge can make one's thoughts clear, and revenge is more important. After thinking about it, he no longer hesitated, exchanged it for a cock, ate it, and then turned into a blue dragon and flew away. North of the provincial capital, on the bank of the Yellow River. Zhao Chengkong is leading people to build a base here. He is not weak in strength. He obtained a lot of building materials from the building materials factory, and also gathered many people under his command with his strong strength. The fresh water available in the city has been exhausted, and the only hope is the Yellow River. But he was unlucky. There was a powerful water monster in this section of the Yellow River. Although it was much worse than the black-scaled python in Bianshui, it also caused many casualties to the group of his subordinates. But now, he stared at the monster in front of him with a bitter expression. He is 3 meters tall, dressed in tiger skin with white background and black stripes. He stands upright with dancing and flickering flames around him. There is also a vertical eye on his forehead. Who are you? Zhao Chengqi gasped. The opponent was too powerful, even if he joined forces with the other two ability users under his command, he was still injured in the hands of this strong man. It seems that he is an animal-type ability user. Cat fruit tiger form. Or the more terrifying cat fruit, phantom beast species, and white tiger form. He now strongly doubted it was the latter. Because the erect eyes on the other person's forehead and the lingering luster on his body are not very extraordinary. Only the legendary phantom beast species can have such a vision. But this strong man remained silent and seemed determined to kill them. He glanced at the blood on his shoulder from the corner of his eye. If he hadn't escaped quickly, he would have been seriously injured now. Of course, if you want to behead him directly, this user with the suspected tiger form can't do it yet. Because he is a Superman with a Zonjan fruit. His body is as hard as steel. But steel wasn't invincible, he was still injured. Sir, why are you so aggressive? Zhao Chengkong's arms and legs turned into sharp blades, and he was always on guard against the opponent. You are indeed very strong, but if the three of us join forces, you will be seriously injured. Why bother? His eyes pointed at the two people beside Bai Hu. Although the two people were standing, they both had animal bodies. He is an animal-type esper. One of them is covered with a green exoskeleton, his arms turn into green bone sickles, and there are two pairs of wings on his back. It's the bug fruit praying mantis form. With his sickle arms, his attack power is very good, but now, one of the sickle arms has been broken. The other person had antelope-like horns, and his hands and feet turned into hooves. It's the cow niu fruit and antelope form. But there were 3 deep and long wounds on his chest. Blood was flowing down, and it seemed that his heart was almost taken out. In the distance, a group of people were hiding here and shivering. It is not their place to intervene in a battle of this level. A girl with a pretty face showed a look of fear in her eyes. Brother Zhao seems to be unable to defeat him. Will we die? Next to him, a young man with messy hair stared at her plump figure with fiery eyes. Taking advantage of the crowd, he also took the opportunity to touch the girl's body twice. It's a pity that this is the person that Brother Zhao likes, so he can't move around. But now that Brother Zhao can't protect himself, he can't help but have some evil thoughts in his heart. Hey, don't touch me. The girl felt her butt being touched by someone unknown, and turned around with a look full of resentment, finally settling on a middle-aged man with a dull expression. That's disgusting. When Brother Zhao finishes beating me, I'll ask Brother Zhao to kick you out. The middle-aged man was frightened and quickly knelt down and begged for mercy. No, it's not me. Don't kick me out. I will die if I go out alone. The girl kicked him with disgust on her face, looked at the battle in the distance again, and thought to herself, Brother Zhao can't do it. If he loses, will that person kill us? No, even if other people will die, I won't. With my beauty, as long as I show some flesh to seduce him, I don't believe he won't be attracted to me. In the distance, the 4 of them fought fiercely for a while, and the white tiger man also had a few more wounds on his body. After all, he has not been practicing for a long time. Although his foundation is good, his strength is limited. His body was injured, and his animal instinct made him want to retreat. Coupled with the hunger in my belly, I no longer wanted to fight anymore. Zhao Chengkong also saw the retreat in his eyes, and he was relieved in his heart. His physical strength was almost exhausted. If he continued to fight, he would be responsible for this. If you want to leave, please feel free to leave. We will never stop you. Although he was tired, he still managed to show that he was sure of victory and asked the other 2 to move away. The tiger man hesitated for a moment, roared again, and planned to leave. Yo, what a coincidence. So you are here. Just as he was about to leave, a person appeared behind him and blocked his retreat with a smile. Roar. The roar of the tiger shook the surrounding areas and blew out Shin's hair. But he remained unmoved and still stood there blocking the way. I didn't expect that I would be so lucky. This time, I killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Surrender or die. Ignoring the roar of the tiger, his overbearing look erupted. Bai Hu felt frightened in his heart, and the bodies of Zhao Chengkong and the 3 people not far away were trembling even more. What a strong overlord. Who is this person? He had just defeated the tiger and met the real dragon again. He was complaining in his heart, hoping that the boss would subdue the strong tiger man and leave. The overbearing color is mixed with dragon power, and the white tiger's eyes show fear. This is the survival instinct of the beast. Another overbearing color rushed out, and everyone hiding in the distance immediately knelt down. The three of them, Zhao Chengkong, looked at each other in confusion, their legs trembling, and they managed to stay standing. The white tiger who was closest to Ao Shin felt that his heart was about to burst. He crawled on the ground, revealing the true form of the white tiger, Meow. This big guy actually rubbed Ao Shin's legs while letting out a rough cat sound in his throat. Zhao Chengkong was shocked. What the hell is Meow? Very good. He reached out and stroked the tiger's head. From now on, you will mess with me. What day did you call Joe? He asked by whose name and remembered that the 6 brothers and sisters were named from Monday to weekend. There was no Saturday, so he didn't know what day of the week it was. The white tiger shook his head. It had just opened its spiritual intelligence not long ago. Before its spiritual intelligence was activated, it had no idea about the names given to human beings. Fortunately, it eats the renren fruit. If it were of other types, its spiritual intelligence would not be able to unlock so much, and it would need to be slowly improved through practice. Then you will be called Xiaobai from now on. Ao Shin is very satisfied with her naming skills. Meow, but Bai Hu seemed to be very dissatisfied. He had not yet opened his spiritual intelligence and was not very good at speaking human language. He just stumbled and said, okay, difficult. He wanted to say it sounded ugly, but Ao Shin was overjoyed. You also said yes. Are you a good man? You want to say yes, man. Then you will be called Xiaobai from now on. Ouch. Bai Hu blinked his big eyes and wanted to fight for it, but seeing that Ao Shin had already removed his hand from his forehead and walked forward, he had no choice but to accept the name aggrievedly. Zhao Chengkong. He knew that Zhao Chengkong was the Zonjin fruit, and he knew his identity just by looking at his current appearance. It's me, are you? Zhao Chengkong tried to stay calm, but looked at him very warily. It was so easy to subdue the strong tiger man, and also let the strong tiger man transform into a beast and act coquettishly. What kind of strength is this? Don't be nervous, I'll find someone here for you. His face was expressionless, and Zhao Chengkong didn't know whether he was happy or angry. Who are you looking for? Zhao Chengkong asked. Su Ru. When the name was announced, Zhao Chengkong was shocked. This guy looks so young, he can't be Su Ru's ex-boyfriend. I have been merging with Su Ru every night these days. If he knew about it, he might be angry with me. Unless he is willing to be a fellow-minded person with me. No, you can't tell the truth. He smiled and said, sorry, I don't have anyone named Su Ru here. You can look for her elsewhere. Yeah, he believed that Tang Yingying would not lie to him, that is, Zhao Chengkong was lying. Call your people out and let me take a look. Although his tone was calm, it sounded like an order to Zhao Chengkong's ears. This irritated him even more. So what if the overlord is lustful? In the early stage, the overlord color can only clear troops. Even if you have points to learn to dominate, the level of the overlord color must be extremely high. Just like knowing the weapon color, you can learn to play Ryu Sakura. This is my territory, Zhao Chengkong, you are too overbearing. He looked coldly, and his 2 animal type ability users surrounded Ao Shin, trying to threaten him to leave. However, roar, the white tiger roared and glared at Zhao Chengkong and the others, his eyes filled with fierce light. Dare to be presumptuous in front of the master he recognizes. Haven't these scumbags been tortured enough? Zhao Chengkong was shocked again. It seemed that the tiger man had really been subdued. But he can't back down. If this person is really Su Ru's ex-boyfriend, he won't be able to forgive him. Simply threaten him and scare him away. Ao Shin reached out and stroked Xiaobai's head. Okay, don't be angry, just rest in peace and recover. Xiaobai then lay down again with a groan. He looked at Zhao Chengkong. This man really didn't want to retreat. He also didn't want to continue talking nonsense. He slowly moved forward. If you want to die, just stop me and try. Under the pressure of his powerful momentum, Zhao Chengkong took several steps back, but he finally couldn't help but take action. Drink. Both arms turned into steel knives and rushed towards Ao Shin. Behind him, the 2 animal type ability users also came to kill him. However, Ao Shin only stretched out one hand. 3 consecutive clicks of the finger gun shattered the heads of these 3 people. Body like steel. It's just a joke in front of him. A hole as big as a finger appeared on the heads of the three people. Their eyes were full of unwillingness and fear, and they quickly lost the breath of life. The crowd in the distance was shocked again. They were far away and did not hear Ao Shin ask Su Ru. They just saw him arguing with Zhao Chengkong for a few words, and then, Zhao Chengkong and the other three were killed instantly. Brother Zhao is dead. Brother Niu and Xiaoji are also dead. They were horrified and didn't know what kind of ending they would face. Brother Zhao died without even being able to resist. I didn't even see how he took action. Su Ru watched him approach slowly, her heart beating rapidly. This sense of oppression was too strong. What is he going to do? If I could get along with such a big guy, wouldn't I be 100 times better than Brother Zhao? Moreover, he is so handsome. He quickly straightened his hair and pulled down the shoulders of his blouse to reveal his white flesh. He tried to calm down and prepared to show his most charming expression when Ao Shin arrived. Ao Shin came to the crowd and immediately saw Su Ru with her shoulders half exposed. Su Ru, I found you. He smiled, very happily. Su Ru is also very happy. He knows me. Who is he? Someone who chased me before. Or some licking dog who doesn't remember his appearance. She and Tang Yingying were known as two golden flowers, and they had so many suitors that it was normal for them not to remember a few. Now that he likes me, that's even better. Tang Yingying, if this big guy helps me, I will see how you die. Thinking of these messy things in my mind, the sweetest smile in my life showed on my face, me. But she only said one word, and a hole appeared in her forehead. A finger was pulled out of the hole, brains and blood flowing out. The beautiful girl fell down with confusion on her face. She never knew what happened until her death. Others were even more frightened when they saw that he killed Su Ru without any explanation. Even the most beautiful Su Ru can be killed, what else do they have to offer? Ao Shin glanced at the crowd again and did not see the man. It seems that he did not leave from Zhao Chengkong. There is only one enemy left, but don't worry, you will meet him sooner or later. No longer paying attention to the group of scared people, he turned and left. Let's go, Xiaobai. After calling out to the white tiger, he transformed into a green dragon, grabbed the white tiger in his hand, and flew into the air. Qinglong, it's the boss Qinglong. No wonder he's so strong. The people kneeling on the ground exclaimed, but soon they fell into a fight over who was the boss. Dwang. An iron rod hit a young man with messy hair on the head, and the dull middle-aged man hit him again. The young man's head suddenly bled, and he fell to the ground twitching. I'll be the boss. Who doesn't agree? The usually dull and honest middle-aged man suddenly burst out, startling everyone. However, in the apocalypse, they have long been accustomed to seeing life and death. After the initial shock, someone immediately jumped out. Who the hell do you think you are? How dare you be the boss? Boom! The iron rod in the middle-aged man's hand was smashed down directly. The women quickly dispersed, and the men who refused to accept the other started a fight for the position of boss. After a long time, almost everyone fell to the ground. Some people died in the chaos, some were seriously injured, and some had their bones broken. Only one person was still standing, leaning on an iron rod, but he was panting. His left eye was still bleeding, and he didn't know who had poked it blind. In the sky, Bai Hu looked down in shock. He was so small in front of the 100-meter green dragon. Roar! I couldn't help but let out a tiger roar, as if the following was my own country. He is worthy of being his boss. His mind has been opened, and although he can't speak human language yet, he has human emotions and thoughts. When Ao Shin returned to the intersection, the sun had already set. The bright moon hung in the sky in the dusty sky, and there was still the sound of chopping bones on the roadside. But this time, there was also the sound of scratching and scratching bones. He is an ordinary member of Shiyu and Zombie Saw. Although it was dark, they were still working hard. The huge green dragon fell from the sky holding a white tiger, frightening them. Viri, where did the boss get such a big tiger? It looks like a Bengal white tiger. Why did the boss get a tiger? It seems that the tiger is not infected. Is it going to eat tiger meat? Noob. Although I can't speak human language very well, I can understand it, okay. Xiaobai cheered up, shook his head, roared, and turned into a human form. His human form is 3 meters tall and extremely majestic. There is a vertical eye on his forehead, and he is also wearing an ancient general's armor, which makes him look very powerful. Ha, have you turned into a human again? Did you eat the cat fruit tiger form fruit? Everyone stopped what they were doing and looked at Xiao Bai. As a result, after he turned into human form, he still let out a tiger roar. Then, speaking broken Chinese, he shouted, "Master Yin," to Ao Shin. It was one of the few things he said. In the shadows beside the street, Han Shuang also looked at this big guy curiously. Jingren's perception was sharper than that of humans, and she could feel the animality in this guy. Also keenly aware of Xiao Bai's identity is Tang Yingying. She is very sensitive to smells, and Xiao Bai is obviously not human. Boss, is he a tiger who ate the fruit of everyone? The girl took a cautious step forward, not daring to get too close to Xiao Bai, for fear that the big tiger would eat her, even though Xiao Bai's human form was really handsome. Everyone was surprised when they heard her words. Yingying, are you sure he is a tiger and not a human? Luo Yi looked at Xiao Bai cautiously. This big guy made him feel extremely vicious. Tang Yingying curled her lips. Uncle Luo, who in the normal world can grow 3 meters tall. Do you think they are all Navy generals? After her reminder, everyone realized, yes, Xiao Bai is too tall. The strong Ao Shin and Luo Yi were much smaller in front of Xiao Bai. Boss, is he really a tiger? Ao Shin nodded and introduced. Xiao Bai is a Bengal white tiger in the provincial capital zoo. He ate the devil fruit and became a human. His fruit is the animal type, the human fruit, the phantom beast species, and the spiritual form. Speaking of which, it is also a fruit of everyone. It is strange that Chopper, who is a commoner, is still covered in animal hair and is regarded as a snowman. He has always suspected that what Chopper ate was actually the human fruit, ancient species, and homo form. Xiao Bai stood next to Ao Shin, very well behaved, but he didn't seem to like using the human form, and after a while, he turned into the orc form again. The figure in the orc form is more majestic, but the vertical pupils on the forehead and the armor are still there. Just like Onamaru's great entrance form comes with monk robes and armor, his armor is also a gift from the fruit ability and has a certain degree of defense. Boss, he is a fantasy beast, he should have special abilities. Seeing that Xiao Bai was well behaved, Tang Yingying dared to take a few steps closer. Originally she wanted to ask how Su Ru was doing, but now she was completely attracted to Xiao Bai. Xiao Bai's ability. Ao Shin exchanged a big cock from the god-given space and chatted with them while eating it. Lingguan is the protector god in Taoist mythology. The main ability is a special energy that combines thunder and fire, thunderbolt. This kind of thunderbolt can not only use the third eye in the forehead to shoot thunderbolt rays with extremely concentrated energy, but can also be surrounded by thunderbolt light, which has the effect of exorcising evil spirits. The so-called exorcism can, on the one hand, enhance one's resistance to zombie viruses, and on the other hand, it can resist ominous invasions. Since zombies evolve into 3-star hairy corpses, ominous breath will be born from within their bodies. This breath corrodes the blood of living beings, and when it reaches a certain concentration, it can also take away the destiny of living beings. Add bad luck to others. With Ao Shin's strength, every time he fights against Mao Ji, he needs to use his energy and blood to forcibly disperse the bad luck, but this is only because Mao Ji has no intelligence. When zombies give birth to spiritual intelligence in the future, the ominousness cannot be dispelled so easily. At that time, the effect of the thunderbolt of the spirit officer, which can exorcise evil spirits, will be greatly increased. In addition, the human torch has a considerable resistance to unsolvable abilities such as the negative ghost of the Lingling fruit and the childlike fruit that turns into a toy when touched. In his previous life, Xiao Bai was able to become the #1 warrior of the Shendu forces, so this fruit is of great help. Oh my god, that's so exaggerated. Tang Yingying covered her mouth and exclaimed, is this a species of phantom beast? After chatting for a while, Xiao Bai himself exchanged a big cock, sat next to Ao Shin and ate it. This was far more delicious than anything he had ever eaten. After Ao Shin added Xiao Bai as a friend in the God-given space, he transferred 20,000 points to him and asked him to return his life and learn all 6 postures. Boss, how is Su Ru? Tang Yingying approached and asked in a low voice. Ao Shin smiled and said, she's dead. Is she dead? The woman who had tricked her was finally dead. Tang Yingying was relieved but also a little empty. Boss, can I ask? Before he finished speaking, he was interrupted by Ao Xin. No. Tang Yingying. Ao Xin knew that she wanted to ask about the grudge between herself and Su Ru. But I can tell my sister about my past life alone, how can I tell others casually? Boom, boom, clang. Suddenly, Shi Yu shouted in surprise, Boss, I'll chop this hairy corpse to death too. Another 1,000,000 points arrived, and he was extremely excited. Boss, I will transfer 900,000 points to you right now. After a day of hard work, the others also cut off more than half of the mutilated zombie heads and transferred 90% of them to Ao Xin. When everyone returned to the tall building to rest, Han Shuang, who had been standing in the shadow, stepped forward and dragged Mao Shi's body to the pharmacy. Although Luo Yi and Tang Yingying already knew her identity, she still didn't want to eat zombies in front of others. In the tall building, on the floor next to Ao Xin is Xiaobai, who has transformed into a white tiger again. Out of the ferocious beast's strong-willed mentality, he became extremely dependent on Ao Xin after being impressed by it. Just like a domestic cat likes to sleep next to its owner, he also likes to sleep next to Ao Xin. Your intelligence has been opened now. Learn to speak more. When you have the chance, I will find a book for you to read. You must also be able to read. Ao Xin was lying on the bed, chatting with Xiaobai. All he got in response was a whine. At the crossroads, Ao Xin stayed here with Luo Yi and others for 10 days. From here, he brought back 13 mutilated fur corpses, and countless zombies. Clang, clang, clang. People like Luo Yi's faction have become accustomed to the happy life of being beaten and crippled by big men and harvested by them. Although the growth of domineering is not fast, the victory is safety and a lot of points are earned. Ao Xin threw a furry corpse in front of Shi Yu. After these days, the zombies in the distance were gradually gathering towards them. Moreover, after devouring the zombie corpses they threw at the end of the street, the body also evolved rapidly. In the past 3 days, Ao Xin no longer transformed into a dragon and flew into the distance. Furry corpses appeared from time to time in the vicinity. He does not use the fruit's ability, but relies solely on his physical body to fight against it. Now he can use his physical strength to maim a hairy corpse. His strength is not far from the 3rd level of giant power realm. Clang. This sound of chopping bones was particularly loud. A voice of surprise mixed with distress came. Boss, I have broken through to the copper skin realm. It's Shi Yu. He upgraded. This is a good thing, but also a bad thing. This means that Ao Xin can no longer obtain 1,000 times points reward through Shi Yu. Although other people's strength has also improved, without the bonus of devil fruit, they can't even swing Chushui a few times. It is even more impossible to behead the corpse. Looking at the 4 furry corpses on the ground waiting to be beheaded, he was thinking about how to deal with them. Boss, should I continue to chop? Shi Yu scratched his head in embarrassment. As his strength advanced, it would be easier for him to cut down the hairy corpse, but the points he would get would be 10 times less. As Ao Xin lowered his head and pondered, suddenly, time and space froze, and everyone was forcibly pulled into the God-given space. The rules for obtaining points have been adjusted. Points will be obtained based on combat contribution for killing zombies. When the zombies lose their ability to move, they will not be able to obtain points by attacking again. Okay, no need to think about it. God-given space fixed the bug directly. But this is not without its benefits. Earning points based on combat contributions can improve team collaboration. In the past, in order to gain points, even if there were multiple people attacking, someone would always try to get the final blow. Even if the team has agreed upon the final allocation, how will it be allocated? How to convince the public? Why are others willing to give points to you? A series of distrust issues will cause many conflicts to break out in the last days. It's different now. Points are earned based on everyone's contribution to the battle. In this way, when fighting zombies, everyone will work hard to get ahead and not fall behind. However, the bugs were not fixed so quickly in the previous life. I wonder if it was due to my frantic harvesting of the God-given space wool that the adjustment was advanced. Just as he was sighing that he had lost an opportunity to pluck wool, the grand and majestic voice of the God-given space sounded in his ears again. Because you found the loophole in the God-given space and improved the rules of the God-given space will issue rewards to you. Please choose one of the following 3 certificate rewards. Another reward. Ao Shin surprise. The rewards of the God-given space are all top-notch. For the first time, he obtained the innate domineering genius, which made his cultivation always at the forefront of everyone. Obtaining the title God-given member for the second time gives me the possibility to earn points from the price difference. I wonder what the certificate is this time. Looking up, I saw that it was the same as the previous 2 times. I looked at it intently. Certificate 1 Business Permit. You obtain a license to do business in the God-given space. Your small shop will appear in the God-given store. After others buy items from you, they can also be directly transferred to their own hands. Note: every time goods are put on the shelves, God-sent space will charge a handling fee of 1% of the selling price, which is non-refundable regardless of whether it is sold. If the goods are taken off the shelves and relisted, the handling fee will still be charged again. Certificate 2 Preaching Permit. You obtain a license to preach in reality. You can teach others your proficient skills without the need for them to redeem the skills in a God-given space. Note: the skills you teach lack the God-given space initiation function. Therefore, others cannot learn it immediately. They need to gradually understand it based on your preaching level and apprentice understanding. Certificate 3 Warehousing Permit. You obtain a license to temporarily store real-life items into the God-given space. Points are paid each time based on the volume and time of the stored items. You can also share the storage permissions with others, but others need to store them. Spend double points. 3 certificates, or documents. First, eliminate 3. Although space system ability has always been the best choice in the end of the world. However, on the one hand, he has his sister's treasure storage space, so he does not urgently need the space storage ability. On the other hand, this storage requires points. This is such a trap. The only gratifying thing is that he can share this with others, and he can earn points through this. But it's not as good as option 1. Moreover, can the store also be used as a warehouse for storing supplies? The one that suits him best is undoubtedly 1. With the addition of God-given membership, the speed at which he earns points will increase again. As for 2, too much trouble. The learning process is divided into learning, understanding, and practicing. The God-given space directly eliminates the learning process and reaches the stage of understanding. Next, the Redeemer only needs to practice slowly to perfect it. But if he chooses to preach, then others will still need to learn slowly, and he will have to teach little by little. Although it allows him to earn points from others or train his subordinates, it is too troublesome. It is better to obtain a large number of points and then reward them to others. Choose 1. No more hesitation, just choose Business Permit. Checking the God-given space, it turned out that there was an additional back-end page of its own in it. Click to view. Empty. He also needs to fill in basic information and load goods before he can appear in the God-given store. Name: Ao Shin Store, Qinglong Store, Qinlong Store. He thought about whether he should hide that he was the owner of the store. What a hideous thing. He is invincible, so scared. Thought of it. Store name: Dragon King Store. I looked at my current points, 9,999,999. 1 point difference can reach 10 million. At that time, he can purchase those 2 unique products at a 10% discount through the privileges of God-given membership. Should you redeem one first, or buy a large amount of supplies from the God-given store to get more points? This is a dilemma. However, he did find another uncomfortable place. The goods in the store have no locking or hiding functions. Once they are put on the shelves, everyone can buy them. This means that he cannot use the store as storage space. If the price is too low, others will buy it. If the price is too high, you will have to pay a handling fee of 1% of the price. Then the gain outweighs the loss. After thinking for a long time, Ao Shin finally decided to put it on the store shelves first. The things he sells are at great discounts, and I believe that I will be able to make back my investment quickly and make a lot of money. As for what he wanted to sell, he checked in the equipment and potions. Combat skills could not be sold, because once the combat skills were redeemed, they would be directly empowered to the Redeemer and could not be stored. At this stage, those who can afford good sharp knives are already strong, and most people still use quick knives and ordinary weapons. After exchanging 9.8 million points into various levels of weapons, potions and food, he hung them all in his shop. The price is 10% off the original price. Without competition, even if it is a little cheaper, countless people will come to buy from him. After doing all this, I happily checked my personal panel. I haven't checked this thing for a long time. Name: Ao Shin. Talent: Domineering Genius. Title: God-given member. Certificate: Business license: Devil Fruit, Fish Fruit Blue Dragon Form. Realm: Forged Body Iron Bone. Combat Skills: Shave, Finger Gun, Iron Block, Paper Painting, Languid Foot, Moonstep, Life Return. Equipment: Lazu Whip Fake. Points: 78,724. His strength is no longer what it used to be. He can already fight against a corpse with his physical body. Even if a 4-star martial corpse is in front of him, he still has the ability to deal with it, right? After exiting the God-given space, he suddenly thought, never heard of anyone opening a personal store in his previous life. Since I can get this reward, then the person who killed the most zombies and harvested the most wool from low-level people in his previous life should also be able to get it. Did you choose another option? However, this reward is useless if it is not combined with the God-given membership. The person who triggered this reward in the previous life most likely did not obtain the title of God-given member. When the time and space stasis ended, he opened his eyes and found that everyone had stopped what they were doing in embarrassment. The points rules have changed, and now they can no longer get points for killing these zombies. Seeing everyone looking at him, Ao Shin said, the points rules have changed. This method can no longer be used. I plan to go back. You guys come with me. I am building a security base there, and Bianchang's the zombies are weaker than those in the provincial capital and are more suitable for your cultivation. When they go back, they can also speed up the construction of their own security base, and they will also have to check the progress of the base construction. And how the family is doing now. Although I could learn about their safety through the God-given space, I still didn't feel reassured by seeing it with my own eyes. Ouch, ouch. After he finished speaking, the first person to respond to him was Xiaobai, who turned into a white tiger body next to him. He is not yet fully familiar with the human body. But after following Ao Shin and the others these days, I spoke much more eloquently. Master Yin, I want you to come back. Except for the pronunciation problem, I can generally understand what he is saying. After touching Xiaobai's head, I have to say that the beast is very talented in fighting. When I first met him, Xiaobai was in the copper skin realm. And now, he has almost reached the 2nd level iron bone realm. After Ao Shin asked him to redeem Life Return in 6 styles, Xiaobai quickly understood Life Return and was able to use it in just 7 days. Among the 6 moves, he was the first to master the finger gun. Coupled with his tiger claws, it is quite powerful. Luo Yi said, I agree, we can't stay here forever. The fresh water has been exhausted. Even if the boss doesn't mention it, we have to move to places with water sources. They were lucky. There was a large shopping mall on both sides with a lot of drinks and mineral water. Luo Yi relied on the tyrannical strength of the ancient species and the help of Shiyu to lead his people to occupy this place. It was precisely because of the large amount of food and fresh water that he was able to gather so many people so quickly. But now, supplies have been exhausted. Others had no objections. Then, Xiaobai and Han Shuang led the way, Luo Yi and Shiyu left behind, and everyone walked slowly towards the east. Xiaobai, why don't you exchange it for a weapon to practice? You'll be at a disadvantage if you only use your claws. Ao Shin persuaded Xiaobai carefully. But this tiger is still more interested in its claws. Even, because of the power of Thunderbolt to ward off evil spirits, he occasionally bites zombie heads with his fangs. Big cats like to headshot their prey. Xiaobai still likes it now. It is precisely because of the frequent use of his claws that his finger gun can improve rapidly. But Ao Shin thinks this is not possible. If the weapon is broken, it's not serious, but if the body is seriously injured, the impact will be serious. Xiaobai said, there are claws on the forehead. Ao Shin. When they returned to Bian City, there was an uproar in the God-given space. Because, finally someone discovered the Dragon King shop. Dragon King shop. What is this? A survivor who was browsing the merchandise suddenly saw something strange. I've never seen it before. He clicked in curiously. The products sold there were not surprising, but the prices shocked him. The things in this shop are cheaper than those in Godsend Space. I hurriedly browsed through them all and found that they were all cheaper than the ones outside. Although not much cheaper, points are precious nowadays, so it would be good to be a little cheaper. It can't be fake, right? He doubted the authenticity, but when he thought about the various miraculous features of the God-given space after the end of the world, he still felt confident in him. Bought it. He spent 990 points to buy a sharp knife. When he exited the God-given space, the sharp knife really appeared in his hand. It turns out to be true. He was shocked and happy. Originally, he only had 996 points, which was not enough to exchange for a sharp knife. He originally wanted to save more, but unexpectedly he redeemed the sharp knife directly. This is such a good store. Although many people will die in the apocalypse, the base is too large and there are still many survivors. He was not the only one who discovered the Dragon Emperor's shop, and soon others also discovered it. They went from initial shock to disbelief to surprise after trying it. Some people were happy alone, thinking that this was a benefit given to them by the God-given space, and even thought about using the Dragon King shop to make a profit on the price difference. Some people called their friends to share their joy, and soon, many people knew about the Dragon King shop. In the communication channel of the God-given space, the matter about the Dragon King shop quickly became the most popular topic. Brothers, come and see. There is a Dragon King store in the God-given space. The items sold are much cheaper than in the God-given space. Wish today. Zundu is fake. Who is still shopping in the God-given space when there is this Dragon King store? If you have points, go and buy it. The Dragon King store has a limited number, and it will be gone if others rob it. Save some for me. You guys are so quick to attack. No more. Who opened this shop and they can't stock the goods? Although Ao Shin knew that his goods would be easy to sell, he did not expect that when the Dragon King store exploded, nearly 10 million in supplies would be wiped out. At this moment, he was still leading Luoyi and others slowly back towards Biancheng. On the way Ao Shin led people back to the east, 2 zombies appeared blocking the way. This time he did not take action personally, but Han Shuang and Xiaobai stepped forward to greet him. Han Shuang enjoys a feast of zombies every day, but now his strength is not what it used to be. His arms are covered with crystals and he beats a zombie until it screams and stumbles back. Xiaobai greeted him in the form of an orc, with transparent flames flashing like lightning wrapped around his claws. He let out a dull snoring sound in his throat, fighting with the other zombie inextricably. Naturally, there are not only zombies wandering on the road, but also a large number of flesh corpses and zombies. Luoyi led the team to fight these zombies. However, after the obstacles are lost, ordinary people with little combat experience will occasionally be accidentally scratched and infected by zombies. No matter how good his relationship with everyone is, at this time, the comrades around him can only bear the pain and kill him. Ao Shin entered the God-given space with nothing to do and checked the sales status of her products. Result. Wish today. Is it empty? It's only been a while since it's been empty. Stunned, he still underestimated the appeal of this slight discount to people struggling to survive in the apocalypse. Then he was thinking, is the price too low? Should it be higher? For example, 99.99% off. Selling so quickly, it is obvious that supply exceeds demand. His points directly reached 12,206,224. How long has it been? Got more than 2 million. It seems that there will be no shortage of points in the future. Hurry and spend all your points again and stock up. As soon as he finished loading the goods, he saw the goods disappear at a speed visible to the naked eye. Tisk tisk. There are 8 billion people in the world. Even if there are still 100 million dead, if each person has 10 points on average, there are still 1 billion points. He wants to get all the 1 billion points. Xiaoqin's message. Suddenly he noticed the message his sister left for him in the God-given space. When he clicked on it, he almost became angry. Brother, a Dragon King store suddenly appeared in the God-given space. The things inside are cheaper than outside. You should have a lot of points. Buy more quickly and save them. If you can't buy them in the future, you will lose money. Even if we don't use it, we can still make a lot of money by selling it to others. Looking at it, Ao Chen had dozens of messages for him, all urging him to grab the goods. Afraid that he wouldn't be able to see it, I left a message for a while, and my anxiety was very obvious. This silly girl. Ao Shin laughed. How could he buy his own goods? In addition to Ao Chen's message, he also saw messages from his parents, Meng Kui and Lu Xiao, all telling him about the Dragon King shop, for fear that he would not know. That is to say, Luo Yi and others have been fighting and have no time to see the God-given space. Otherwise, they would come to buy it. He quickly told these close people that he opened the Dragon King shop, so that they would not have to buy it and he could get the items at a greater discount. As soon as he sent it, Ao Chen's reply came. Brother, you opened the Dragon King shop. You told me earlier, all my points were used to buy your goods. She felt aggrieved because she had been keeping an eye on her brother and used all her points to stock up on goods. She wanted to help him earn more, but he told her that he drove it. It's okay, I'm going back soon. Whatever you need, I'll buy it for you then. Ao Shin quickly comforted her sister. We will not be short of points in the future, just feel free to improve our strength. Wait until my brother comes back to take you to play with the cat. Seeing that the goods were selling out quickly, he simply stayed in the God-given space for a while longer, during which time he kept replenishing the goods. Finally, after replenishing about 30 million worth of goods, the purchasing speed dropped significantly. Because everyone found that this store seemed to never be able to buy out. In this case, there was no need to stock up on goods, just buy them when you need them. It's nothing more than changing the purchase location from the God-given store to the Dragon King store. It seems that it is unrealistic to earn all the points from everyone in one go. Ao Shin pondered. The business license he obtained could only sell weapons, equipment and potions, but not combat skills. But combat skills are also crucial to improving strength. After most people get weapons of similar levels, they will accumulate points to redeem combat skills, as well as leaving points that can be redeemed for food and potions. After replenishing the goods for the third time, he left 10 million points and opened the God-given store, intending to use the privileges of the God-given membership to redeem a unique item for sale. Demonizing potion or invisible black blood factor. If he exchanged it for the magic potion, he still had a thunder fruit in Ao Chen's treasure space, but Qinglong already had the ability to control the three elements of wind, fire and thunder. Although the power is a bit worse than that of a single element, it is still enough. Moreover, after subduing Xiaobai, he considered whether he could fuse the three elements of wind, fire and thunder into a new and more powerful energy. For example, Xiaobai's thunderbolt, which is a fusion of thunder and fire, is not only as powerful as the individual elements but also has the special effect of exorcising evil. However, my current development of the fruit's abilities is still too shallow. After the green dragon fruit is developed to its extreme, I don't know if it will be possible to combine the three elements into one. As for elementalization, it's not very useful to him. The elemental transformation can fly, and he, the Azure Dragon, can also fly. The elemental form is not subject to attack, but the weapon color can capture the body of the elementalized ability user. Instead of elementalizing it, wouldn't it be better to exercise domineering to the extreme? Besides, isn't the ultra-high defense, recovery power and speed provided by the invisible black blood factor more unsolvable than elementalization? Decided. Redeem the invisible black blood factor first. Wait until the points reach 80 million before redeeming the magic potion. Then you can find a more powerful devil fruit and gain the dual fruit ability. After inputting 10 million points, the invisible black blood factor was successfully redeemed. Suddenly, a sense of stagnation came from his body, and he was forcibly brought back to reality. Powerful and overbearing power flowed through his body. He felt that his limbs were stiff and unable to move, and he just stood there blankly. The energy flowing out from unknown places emerged in his body and transformed his bloodline. He was already made of copper skin and iron bones, but under the impact of this energy, cracks appeared in his bones, his skin and flesh cracked, and blood flowed out. Soon, everyone noticed that he was covered in blood but unable to move. Boss, what's wrong with you? Tang Yingying, who was mixed in the crowd and killing zombies and corpses with everyone, was not far from Ao Shin. Just when she was about to step forward to show concern, a tiger roar rang in her ears, which made her eardrums buzz. Roar. Xiaobai smelled the blood of his master, roared loudly, opened his vertical eyes on his forehead, and a thunderbolt ray with extremely concentrated energy shot out from the vertical pupils. The ray hit the zombie he was fighting directly on the forehead. The zombie's head was instantly pierced. However, there was a trace of blood flowing from his vertical pupils. His vertical pupils closed, and he jumped to Ao Shin's side in an instant, staring at everyone around him with a pair of tiger eyes, not allowing anyone to get close. A low roar came from Xiaobai's throat, warning others not to get close. When Han Shuang saw this, his attack movements were a little faster. She ate fur corpses for several days, and the zombie virus in her body caused the crystals to grow further. With a groan of pain, the crystal on her shoulder was scratched to pieces by the zombie, and a large piece of her flesh was torn off. The crystals on the human body's surface are just like human domineering, which requires stamina. Her strength is limited, and the crystals she can release are also limited. In order to inflict heavy damage to the zombies, she concentrated most of the crystals on her fists. The crystals on the arms are much weaker. The flesh of the shoulder was torn, and her attack also fell on the zombie. The crystal at the edge of the fist was cone-shaped, and the powerful force shattered the zombie's head. She grabbed the split head with both hands, smashed it outwards, bullied herself in again, and blasted out her fists from the broken head again. Her body was dripping with blood, but her fists never stopped for a moment. The zombie's head was not directly smashed by the hammer. When she was attacking the zombies crazily, the zombies were also attacking her crazily. Finally, the zombie's head was completely shattered and fell into the dust. The white bones were exposed on her shoulders, and the sternum and collarbone were also exposed on her chest. The blood kept dripping, but she didn't care. She grabbed the zombie's body and put it to her mouth to chew on it. She came behind Ao Shin, and Xiaobai protected the unable to move Ao Shin. Allow anyone to approach. A 3-meter-tall humanoid tiger roared repeatedly, and a thin woman who looked like a sick ghost grabbed a zombie and gnawed it in her mouth. Who wouldn't be frightened to see such a scene? We don't have any ill intentions, we are also concerned about the boss's situation. Seeing the defensive look of the two of them, Luo Yi quickly stepped forward to explain with a smile. However, what greeted him was Xiaobai's more urgent and low roar, which was meant to warn him that he would be rude if he dared to approach again. Tang Yingying quickly pulled Luo Yi, fearing that Xiaobai and Han Shuang would fall out. These two, one is a beast with spiritual intelligence, and the other is an alienated crystal man, neither of them is good at anything. We're not getting close, don't be angry. Tang Yingying pulled Luo Yi back and told Xiaobai and Han Shuang not to be too nervous. Han Shuang, who has always refused to eat in front of others, ignored criticism and ate zombie corpses in public to recover from her injuries. This shows that she is ready to fight to the death to protect Ao Shin. I was envious of Ao Shin's good luck. Not only was he powerful, but he also had the unwavering loyalty of such two strong men. Luo Yi organized everyone to keep out all the zombies and corpses, waiting for Ao Shin to wake up. In the center, Han Shuang and Xiaobai looked at Ao Shin, who was bleeding continuously with worried faces. They were already strong enough, but they could still hear the sound of cracking bones from time to time. The source of that sound was clearly within Ao Shin's body. Ao Shin's bones are breaking. This is not good news. However, they don't know what happened to Ao Shin, and they don't have any healing ability. They can only watch, and they can't do anything else. Although Ao Shin could not move, everything around him was visible. He was moved by the scene of Xiaobai and Han Shuang desperately protecting themselves. Xiaobai is only in the copper skin realm. Although he can kill zombies with his beast instinct and the phantom beast fruit, he can never kill them instantly. But he can create explosive damage by condensing a large amount of thunderbolts at once to emit rays. Only then did he smash the zombie's head with one move. But the price was that the vertical pupil on his forehead was damaged and bleeding, making him unable to use it for a short period of time. He also felt exhausted from consuming a lot of energy. But he still chose to do this because he wanted to protect his master. There is also Han Shuang, who can obviously grind the zombies to death slowly, but chooses to end the battle quickly by exchanging injuries for injuries in order to protect himself. From this moment on, they will be regarded as his confidants. The energy from the invisible black blood factor in his body was too overbearing, and the violent tearing sensation gave him a heartbreaking pain. This heartbreaking is not an adjective, but it is actually tearing apart the internal organs, flesh and blood, fascia, bones, etc. After tearing, this energy will impact into repair, and then continue to impact and continue to break. He suffered from the pain of broken bones all the time. The domineering energy integrated into the bones, making his bones harder and harder. After such repeated impact for an hour, a large pool of blood flowed out on the ground. The energy in his body was finally completely integrated into his body. His body could move again, and he staggered forward. This was the result of his inability to adapt after his physical fitness increased significantly. "Are you okay?" Han Shuang breathed a sigh of relief. She was willing to sacrifice everything for this man who didn't look at her strangely and treated her as one of his own. Xiao Bai also asked in broken Chinese, "Juyin, what happened to you just now?" Ao Xin exhaled a breath and said with a smile, "Thank you for protecting me. I'm fine." He first turned his neck a few times, then jumped a few times on the spot, and then took 2 steps forward. After gradually adapting, he jumped up suddenly, stepped on the air with his feet continuously, and there was a loud bang, and he rushed forward. Stepping out again, he suddenly jumped out again. In this way, he stepped on the air and reached the top of a tall building next to the street. It's Moonstep. Finally mastered the moon step. Because of the extreme speed given by the invisible black blood factor, he stepped on the air several times faster than before, and was able to complete the air walk. Not only the moon step, he quickly kicked out with his left foot, rolled up the vacuum to form a slash, and cut off the electrical box on the roof. But that's all. Although I can use the Arashi kick now, the power is very impressive. It's not as powerful as kicking the enemy directly. He looked up at the clouds in the sky and exchanged a few bottles of spirits from the God-given space to wash away the blood on his body. After rinsing, he walked down from the roof again on moon steps. "Boss, have you fully mastered the moon steps?" Only then did Tang Yingying dare to step forward and ask what happened just now. "Why did you suddenly stop moving just now?" Not only was she curious, but everyone was looking at him eagerly, as if they were just eating melons. "When I redeemed the invisible black blood factor, this energy collided in my body. But now that I have fully integrated the bloodline factors, I just need to develop them slowly in the future. The blood factor is not directly in the awakening state and needs to be developed step by step to achieve its true effect." "Oh my god, boss, you already have 100 million points." The girl's little mouth opened into an O shape. The two only redemption options in the God-given space are everyone's dream. But when I saw the price of 100 million points, I couldn't help but sigh and feel that there was little hope. Now that Ao Xin has redeemed it, doesn't it mean that he already has 100 million points? The end of the world has only begun for just over a month. The integration of bloodline factors not only allowed him to perfect the moon steps and Lan Ko, but the impact of the energy directly brought his strength to the realm of giant strength. Although the huge power is not enough to lift mountains, it still has the power of thousands of tons. "It's okay, keep walking." He called on everyone to move on. After leaving the busy city, the number of zombies decreased significantly. He rode directly on Xiao Bai's back and slowly absorbed the 6 awakening crystals he had obtained near the zoo in his palm. Although he had seen awakening crystals in his previous life, he didn't have a devil fruit, so he didn't know how he felt when absorbing it. At this moment, he felt a warm energy flowing from the palm of his hand into his blood vessels and flowing throughout his body. The blood in his body surged like a dragon's roar. He closed his eyes and concentrated, as if there was a phantom of a blue dragon swimming around him. The development of the animal-type fruit is to improve the physique in all aspects. When awakening, there will be a flame cloud surrounding the body, different from the flame cloud that Teacher Kai caught while flying. While the physique is highly strengthened, it can also greatly improve the self-healing ability. The process of development is an in-depth exploration of the body. Although the realm does not increase, the physical fitness can grow. Moreover, the power of the wind, fire and thunder that can be controlled has also become stronger. Xiao Bai, who was being ridden by Ao Xin, turned around in confusion. He always felt that his master seemed heavier. When all 6 awakening crystals in his hand melted away, Ao Xin opened his eyes and clenched his fists. Now, he was confident that he could defeat a 4-star warrior zombie with only his physical body. If you use the blue dragon form again, it will not be difficult to kill the martial corpse. I remember that warrior zombies appeared in the capital not long after the end of the world. It is estimated that warrior zombies will soon appear in the provincial capital now. In other words, there are already warrior corpses, but the humans where the warrior corpses are located have already died, so the news has not been released. When he goes back to arrange for Luo Yi and others, and formulate a plan for the next development of the base, he can set off to find those martial arts corpses to practice. Ride on Xiaobai's back and enter the God-given space to see how the sales of your store are doing. Although he sold some more, the sales speed was greatly reduced. After replenishing the sold goods, he saw a message from his sister Ao Chen. Brother, do you still remember the owner of the Dongfang warrior when we went treasure hunting? Dongfang warrior. Ao Shin naturally remembers. As for the car owner, the young man who begged him and said he would give the car to him for free, just asking him to keep it. In his memory, he was still a survival enthusiast, but unfortunately the survival knowledge he prepared was of little use. Remember, what happened? Ao Chen saw Ao Shin reply immediately and said quickly. He's here, he said he wants to join us. Do you want to accept him? Really found it? Ao Shin was stunned. Even though he can come and go freely from Biancheng to the provincial capital, it is because his strength is much higher than others. It is extremely difficult for others to travel this distance on foot. Those who were able to find them in such a short period of time were either extremely talented and domineering and entered the country quickly, or they were extremely lucky and found a devil fruit. Otherwise, the only option is to die on the road. Don't accept it yet, let him wait until I get back. This person has only met me once, and although he seems to be very determined to follow me, I still can't trust him too much. A large group of people rushed back to Biancheng. When Ao Shin first met them, there were 172 people in this group, but now there are only 146 people left. 26 more people died during this period. This is after they have initially adapted to the apocalypse, and they are all domineering, and Luo Yi and Shi Yu are taking care of them on both sides. But they were used to fighting behind obstacles, and they rarely fought zombies head-on. Along the way, Ao Shin did not take any action himself, while Xiaobai and Han Shuang were only responsible for dealing with zombie-level monsters. Some of them were still bitten and infected from time to time. However, those who can survive are the elites. Boss, the road ahead is blocked. He was taking a nap while riding on Xiaobai's back, when suddenly someone beside him told him that he couldn't walk. When he opened his eyes, he saw numerous obstacles directly cutting off the entire road, and the obstacles seemed like a high wall, extending far away. This road is not the one I came from, and I don't know when they built it. In the middle of the obstacle is a small iron gate. Behind the iron gate, above the obstacle, there is a young man squatting there. When he saw a large group of them approaching, he shouted loudly, "If you want to enter our Dongsheng base, you must first pay the protection fee. 100 points per person." Ao Shin glanced at him and was too lazy to talk to him. Luo Yi took the initiative and said, "We are just passing by, please open the door." The young man was obviously stunned when he heard this. He leaned over and said something to the people below, and then said loudly, "Anyone passing by will also have to pay a protection fee, 100 points per person." Below him was a huge field, and 2 strong men were quickly arriving with people. Brother Dong, Brother Sheng. More than 100 people came, and there was a white tiger among them. They said they wanted to borrow the passage. The young man leaned down and explained the situation to the visitor. Borrowing away. A bald man touched his forehead. That's nonsense. He must be trying to steal our base. I've also read The Art of War, okay. This is called killing the tiger by false means. Brother Dong, it's a false way to destroy Guo. A boy next to him quietly corrected his mistake. The bald man raised his hand and said, "Te Miao, I say a tiger is a tiger. Did I let you speak?" "Yes, Brother Dong, you were right." Next to the bald head was a man wearing a crisp black suit and sunglasses. But judging from the way the suit is stretched out, he is also a muscular man. They are not ordinary people who can gather more than 100 people. Let's see if we can subdue them. If not, we will destroy them. Brothers, get on the wall. After giving the order, all the boys behind them climbed onto the obstacles they had built, and heads popped up one after another, and they all had guns in their hands. It is a flintlock gun unique to the pirate world. Of course, this kind of gun is also a hot weapon. Killing zombies does not give you points. However, using a gun to fight people is extremely useful. In the past, they used guns to maim zombies, and then went back to collect points, which was a very comfortable life. Unfortunately, the points rules have changed now. After killing zombies with a gun, you will not get points. But facing the more than 100 people outside, they believed it was just a salvo. If one round doesn't work, then two. If they have the ability, they will also have it here. Therefore, the bald man and the man in suit were not afraid at all. Outside, Luo Yi looked ugly. Where is the toll? It's obviously a robbery. But Ao Shin didn't speak, as if he was just waiting to see how he would handle the matter. Just when he was about to make a few threats and led his team to attack if it didn't work out, he suddenly discovered that a black mass of human heads appeared behind the obstacle. Everyone also has a flintlock gun in their hands. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.